Hey, hi, hello, and good afternoon. My name is Amanda, and welcome to the Done Creative Patreon launch party. That's a mouthful, and I don't know if I could say that more than like 3 times fast. I hope you're all doing well. I'm going to give you guys a hot minute to get in here. I'm so nervous. I didn't think I'd be this nervous. Normally when I go live, ain't no thing, but like this is different. This is back on my main channel where I originally started doing live streaming, and it's a different vibe over here. Not in a bad way, but just there's more people. Hello, Abby. Thank you for becoming a patron. There are now 6 patrons. I have everybody who's already signed up. I've got your name right here on a little sticky note. I'm trying to grab all 6 of them at the same time. Didn't accomplish it. Let's see, here we go. There's 6 names that I'm going to be folding up. I will show each one before I drop it into my little treasure box over here. And as we get more patrons, if we do, I will just keep adding them as we go along. Oh my gosh, you guys, this is so exciting. It's interesting. I haven't been a member of any other Patreon until like just when I finally signed up. So I think you just do need an account over there, which it was really easy to sign up. You could do it right through your Google account if you wanted. Hello, Aries Rainbow Child. Hello, Lori. Hello, Ethan. We've got 7 people and 10 likes on the video, which is funny because earlier today there were 11 likes and then it dropped down to 2. Again, I always talk about this over on my live stream channel. It's weird how YouTube just snatches those likes away. Like, oh, you want that? No, thank you. I don't get it. I really don't. And they also like to lie about the amount of people who are watching, I've noticed. So if you're here, go ahead and say hi. We'll do a little shout out while we wait. It's usually about that 5 to 7 minute mark is a sweet spot to really get started because people are still checking on in and wrapping up whatever it was they were doing before. Yeah. Let's see. Hello, Rita. Welcome. Mandy's Magical Messages. As far as the giveaway goes and to be able to sign up, yes. But to be here and hang out, absolutely not. You do not have to have a Patreon at all. But yeah, if you want to be involved in the giveaway, the only, I guess, criteria to be entered in the giveaway is to sign up for any of the 3 tiers that I have available, which we will be going over. I have notes. I have 3 pages of notes here mixed up with the different tiers. Well, it's blown out. The different tiers, and we've got some Q&A questions that you guys have left me on my various platforms. Hope I didn't miss anybody, and I probably will, depending how long this takes to get through. I don't want to be here, for 4 hours boring you guys with my life stories or anything, but I might have some Q&A time with those who are here. Sorry. I gotta turn off my thing there. My cousin, she made it home safe. Hello, Monica. Welcome. Your reminder bell just hit, so everyone will be here soon. Yeah, it's interesting because there's maybe like 10 or 12 YouTubers that I have the notifications set for, and I never get notified that they're live, ever. I don't think I've ever gotten notified like on a notification, and I have all my notifications turned on for YouTube on my phone. It never happens. I don't know. I get emails once in a great while that they are live, but not every time, even though I have all notifications turned on. So I don't know if it's just my specific YouTube account that's completely haunted and broken. It feels like it. All right. So we've got 15 people, and 13 likes on the video. Thank you so much. All of your likes help me in the algorithm when it is participating and helping me out anyway. Yes. You don't get the sound of notifications. Oh, okay. Interesting. It just pops up as a little thing. I mean, I get other pop-up things, but not like, hey, so-and-so is live. yeah, I went in and even had my husband look at it, like, why don't I get notifications when certain people are live? It just doesn't happen. Oh, you just got notified! Yay! Yeah, usually between 5 and 10, 5 and 7, more specifically, is kind of the sweet spot. Yeah, let's say hi, everybody. I'm excited. Yeah, I have been. Well, this Patreon idea, little seed, has been in the planning stages since, I guess, pretty much right after I launched my channel back in May of 2019. So it's been about 2 years and 4 months, and there's my thing again. Apologies. But yeah, this has been a dream in the making for quite a while, but like I had mentioned in some of my posts, that Patreon has been a thing, like this pinnacle point of what I do here on YouTube and just putting myself out there. That's really been, I guess the thing standing in my way was just imposter syndrome. Feeling like nobody, like this is my, ego talking. Nobody wants to hear what you have to say. Nobody wants to sign up for anything you have to offer. Although the evidence is quite the contrary in all of your lovely comments and just everything that you guys, your emails, your comments, and everywhere you guys approach me on the internet. You guys are so amazing and loving, and I just decided, let's just take this leap of faith. And even if I had one patron, I'm going to work and do everything that I set out for, everything that my dream is with this Patreon, and just make it the best I can. Even if it's just catering to one person, it's worth it because I'm reaching exactly who I need to be reaching. That's what I'm doing. I'm leaving this all open to spirit, that those who are meant to join us in the High Vibe Tribe over on Patreon will, and those that don't want to, that's okay too. Like, it's not a big deal. And I was just putting it up as this big mountain to overcome. And I'm just like, you know what? We're just gonna plan and make, the steps to launch this thing, and then see where it goes. That's what we're gonna do. So that's what we're doing. So yes, we've got people and 15 likes on the video. So I think I might as well just get started. To get us going here, I will just say that everybody who becomes a patron during the live stream today will be entered into my little treasure box. We are giving away, by we, I mean me. I don't know why I was saying we. It's like me and spirit. Okay, here we go. The we is me and spirit. We're giving away 3 10-minute Zoom readings, which has a regular value of $33 when you sign up or book a reading with me for the 10-minute reading, which to date, the quickest 10-minute reading that I've ever given was over 20 minutes long. So really, a 10-minute is more like a 20-minute, and a 20-minute more like a 30 to 40-minute reading. It's just how it happens when we are on Zoom and hanging out together. We have another patron. Let me go ahead. We've got here Linda Haggerty. Thank you so much. I'm going to write your name here too. Linda. Okay. So I'm going to get all of these folded up and put in my box here in just a second. But yes, we are giving away, me and Spirit are giving away 3 10-minute, closer to 20-minute usually, Zoom readings. And if you don't have Zoom, don't want to do it on Zoom, you have the option of instead meeting over on my other channel, and I would just answer your question during the live stream, and then you could timestamp that and have it available whenever you want to look back on it. So those are your options. I'm giving away 3 of those different readings to 3 different patrons. So the only thing you need to do to be entered is subscribe, become a patron to any of my 3 tiers, which we will go over here very shortly. It's like moments away. We're going to get into what all you can expect and what I'm offering over on Patreon. But before we get into that, everybody who's already signed up, we are going to start with the first patron I had, which was my cousin Tanya. So we're going to fold up Tanya's name and drop it right in. The second patron I had was Jasui. Thank you so much, Jasui. I appreciate that. Dropping the name in the the bucket. The third patron, number 3, is Lori. Thank you so much, Lori. Folding it up, dropping her in. The fourth patron I had was someone I've known a very long time, Jessa G. Thank you so much, Jessa. Oh, proof, drop in. There we go. And the fifth, I lost count. The fifth was Ricky H. Thank you so much for becoming a patron. Dropped in. The sixth was Dear Abby. Every time I see the name Abby, I think, Dear Abby. Okay. Abby in the treasure chest. And then Linda is rounding us out for the most recent patron, lucky number 7. I'm a life path 7. Yay. Oh, I promise, Linda. See? Linda H. Oh, there we go. Linda H. Upside down. There it is. All right. So that's what we're rolling with now. Okay. So if you're becoming a patron right now, we will hear the ding and you will be entered as well. You're a life path 7 too, Monica. That's amazing. My husband's also a life path 7. My sister's also a life path 7. And my mom is also a life path 7. I love me some life path 7s. And also I have some near and dear life path 11s in my life. And I'm sure many other numbers that I just haven't worked all out yet. All right, let me go back and catch up. We've got, who do we got? Okay, Mandy's Magical Messages. She is downloading Patreon now. Amazing. All right, definitely inspire me to trust my intuition and follow my heart. Yes, if there's anything I can do for you guys, it would just be to plant that seed or just act as that catalyst to let you know you can do everything I'm doing for you and more by just learning and attuning to your own, intuition, because your very best guidance isn't going to come from me or another reader. It's going to come from your higher self, from your soul, from your heart. That's where it's at. So if I can just teach you guys some little tools to tap into that, I have done my job. Because that's really what it's all about, is just helping each other and, learning to love each other and walk each other back home up the mountain path of life, all on different paths. Hello, Kasara. Welcome. Joyful Journey. Welcome. All right. Lori, this is very exciting. I have a few Patreon accounts, and I love the benefits of all of them. Amanda, you are so amazing. Aw, so are you, Lori. What about those who were just impatient and did it before? No, you're in here, Jasui. You're in here. Every single patron I've had between launch button and now, which, yes, let's speak about that little launch button. I actually launched on Thursday because it said on Patreon that it might take up to 3 days for them to approve your offerings, to approve your account. So I'm like, oh no, I don't want to hit launch like right as I start the live stream, and then it's like pending approval 3 days later. Like, that would be so anticlimactic. So I got kind of nervous and thought, okay, I'm just gonna launch Thursday, not tell anybody. My cousin was kind of the catalyst behind all of that. And the very moment that I pushed that launch button, I created a little birth chart for that moment. And wouldn't you know that the moon, where the moon was when I pushed launch, was exactly conjunct my Bhrigu Bindu, or destiny point, in my chart. And the Bhrigu Bindu is a Vedic, calculation in your chart. It is the halfway point between your north node and your moon, which my north node and moon are in the same house. So it's literally halfway between the two of them. The moon was at 23.14 in Gemini, Purnavasu Nakshatra, exactly on my destiny point in my 9th house of publication. And what am I doing? Publishing my Patreon. I thought that was so neat. You can't make that stuff up. I mean, it was divinely timed, divinely inspired. So yes, I launched on Thursday, and then Saturday during my live stream, I dropped many hints, and I even put in the description the link to the Patreon, and a couple of people figured it out. I dropped some hints and was like winking at the very end of my last live stream on my other channel. A couple people figured it out in time. Yes, so that was really exciting. I just thought I'd share that little bit of something. let's see. You're the second one that I have met this week. That's so cool. Amber retracted her message, so I don't know what she said. Jasui says, how are you guys? Thank you for all the good vibes sent to my brother. He is doing well, recovering from his accident. Grateful to be alive. Oh, I'm so glad Miguel is doing better. That was, oh, man, I could feel just, so much. Such heavy energy, but he's overcoming it. He's going to be just fine. All part of his purpose. All right. Hello to the High Vibe Tribe, says Lori. I love and adore you all. Yes, Ethan loves the High Vibe Tribe, as do I. B. Carol says, good vibes. Jasui, that's fabulous news. Our prayers work. Love you, dear Jasui. I knew it was there. I just couldn't join the Patreon at the time. LOL. Yes, Ethan, I'm sure you caught on right quick. Okay, so speaking of all this Patreon. How many times have I said that word already in this live stream? While we're waiting for more patrons to come in, if they are, we're just going to dive into, well, what is Patreon and what is it you're doing over there, Amanda? Okay, let's figure this out. So Patreon is, I guess the best way I can describe it is a subscription based website service where you can subscribe. It's kind of based on the old way of, I know this happened a lot in like the 1800s, where they called them patrons of the arts, which is basically somebody who had a lot of money. Back then, usually it was people with money who were the ones doing this, would pay artists, musicians, people with creative talents and gifts. They would pay them money so that the people with the gifts could focus only on their gifts, wouldn't have to focus on a whole bunch of other things. And that money, in exchange for the money from the patrons given to the artist, that patron could then have exclusive behind the scenes look at what this person was working on, and then ultimately get to enjoy the masterpieces that the artist would create. And that's basically the premise of Patreon as well. I know some people just kind of have it almost as a tip jar set up for, $1 tier, a $3 tier, a $5 tier. That's kind of how a lot of, not like everybody on there, but a lot of just tarot readers, because I didn't know a lot about it. I just knew it sounded like fun, a couple years ago when I first heard about it. But I would always look in on what like the different musicians that I followed on YouTube were doing, and I thought it was so cool. And then that expanded out like into tarot reading. I didn't realize you could do that until right after I started my channel. But my Patreon, I'm geared toward more creating a community over there and really having a lot to offer, rather than just, hey, thanks for your support, and here's a something that takes me 5 minutes a week. I'm really devoting myself to this and putting my blood, sweat, and tears over there. Hopefully no blood or tears, unless they're happy tears. But tears, speaking of tears, spelled the other way, though, tears. The bottom tier that'll get you in on the ground level is called the Quartz Cutie tier. I wish I had like my whole stream set up where I could like show you the screen and how to navigate, but I'm not that cool yet. Someday I hope to be. Like, that's a goal of mine, to figure out the whole live stream experience. Because normally I don't really need all the bells and whistles, because the cards are the ones and Spirit's the one really shining. But today it would have come in handy if I could do that. But anyway, yes, Quartz Cutie tier. We're going to start there. So in on the ground level for $5.55 a month, which would break down to 18 cents per day, you will get the following. And of course, these tiers are going to build on each other. So everything you are hearing in Quartz Cutie tier, when we bump up to the next tier, you're also getting this plus what I say in the next tier. So I hope you're still with me. So patrons that select the Quartz Cutie tier will gain early and ad-free. That's a biggie, because YouTube has been bombarding my videos with extra ads. I put 1 to 2 ads for every pile of my pick-a cards, but some people say, it's not everybody that's getting this, but some people say that there's an ad every 2 minutes, which I don't see revenue from that. That's like YouTube's doing. I have no idea. I've tried to contact them. I hear nothing. Crickets on YouTube's end as to how to fix that. So the whole ad-free thing, I think, is very important. And also early access to my videos. And also, cuties will receive the exclusive weekly reading that I used to do on my channel for a hot minute, but I think people were getting bogged down with a weekly reading every week. Those that didn't want it were unsubscribing or just only here for certain content. So the viewership really took a dive on those. That started out really high, but then took a dive. But I love doing those weekly readings so much. We can break down the weekly energies and do either a collective read or pick a card. We're gonna do a poll over on Patreon very soon for you guys to decide what you would like. So I'm moving that over there. I haven't done them in months over here, and I miss them. But also, there will be other Patreon-only pick-a-card readings exclusive to Patreon for Quartz Cutie tier for $5.55. So the next tier we have is the Magic Moldavite tier. I love you too. Thank you. Welcome to the lunch party. All right. So for the Magic Moldavite tier for $11.11 a month, you're going to get everything that we talked about in the Quartz Cutie tier. And that $11.11 a month breaks down to about 37 cents a day that you are paying for this content. Everything from Quartz Cutie, plus you will get the select patrons that select the Magic Moldavite tier will gain early and ad-free. Oh, I already said that. We're building on this. Let's see. Okay, here we are. So Moldavites will also receive the okay, that's also Quartz Cutie. I did not take these out. I just copy pasted and then printed it out. So stand by. Okay, so in addition to Quartz Cutie, figuring it out, Amanda, you will have access to live streams on spiritual topics, and sometimes we will have guests. And I want to do one, if not two, if time allows, of these special topics per month. And some of the topics that I know we're going to be getting into is I'm interviewing and kind of having a back and forth with someone who does human design readings, and we're going to get into that. Astrologers, someone who's a crystal expert. I mean, I've got some people lined up. Monica, who is here in the chat, has said that she wants to collab for some spiritual topics as well. There's just a lot that I want to talk about, but because my channel is so dedicated to either pick-a-cards or those intuition tests, I didn't want to also then bog it down and further kind of split my viewership by then having all the spiritual topics there, which, again, probably YouTube isn't the best place to have that anyway, because the censorship is off the chain right now and only going to get worse. Just intuitively, what I'm seeing for the future, it's only going to get worse and worse and worse. So at least for the time being, Patreon is where it's at to be able to divulge what's going on over there. So the third and final top tier of the Done Creative Patreon will include everything from Quartz Cutie and Magic Moldavite for $22.22 a month, which breaks down to about 73 cents a day. So all of my tiers are well below $1 a day. You will also, in addition to the two tiers we talked about, you will get, I didn't say also from Magic Moldavite. You also have voting power for future pick-a-cards as well as live stream topics and just, anything I want to throw your way. You have the power to vote on that. So now, Mystic Meteorite, $22.22 a month, 73 cents per day. You will get everything we talked about, plus you are so out of this world, meteorites, that you will also gain VIP access to live readings covering unsolved mysteries, esoteric knowledge, true crime, and more. I would probably have you guys vote on what you would like to see during those, and I want to do 2 of those a month. That's my goal, my ultimate aim, to be able to do 2 of those a month, and I would like to live stream at least 1 of those so we can have back and forth. You guys can ask questions about whatever topic we're doing a reading on, and tapping into the true vibes of it. Yes, so much fun. And you will also be shouted out in my YouTube video credits, but because I'm a pick-a-card channel, only Pile 3 will ever be the ones to see the credits. So I'm going to put that at the beginning of my videos, front and center in the lights. Your name will be in the lights every video. It'll kind of go, if you don't see your name there that month, it'll be the next month. once you pay for the month, once it registers, it'll be. But you guys, that have already, I'm going to be on the ball and get you going this next reading that I have, because I have not even filmed the next reading that will go live on this channel yet. I'm doing that tomorrow, so I'm going to add everybody who does the Patreon thing. You will be on tomorrow's video that I filmed, which will probably be live on Wednesday, maybe Thursday. Haven't decided yet on that. So your name will be in lights very soon. Also, meteorites will also be awarded with behind-the-scenes content and sneak peeks at what I have planned, both just in my life in general, with my writing, with my different channels. I'm just going to share a lot of myself over there because I don't have a lot of opportunity to do that during a pick a card reading, because people are there for information about themselves. They don't really want to hear about me. But in this beautiful community that we have created here, the High Vibe Tribe, people are interested in me, which to me still blows my mind that anyone cares what I have to say about anything, let alone want to know me as a person or as a friend. And, so I will have an opportunity to be able to do more of that over there. Also, full access to the entire backlog of content. Even if you become a patron in 4 months, you will have access to everything, top tier, everything that has ever been posted over there. And it's not on my list yet. Last but not least, the Discord server. It's coming very soon, where you can be part of a community even when, it's the middle of the night and you just want someone to talk to. You can hop on that Discord server and the High Vibe Tribe. There might be someone awake. They can talk to you, hang out with you. Eventually I want to do, it's not on yet, but eventually I want to be able to add some sort of accountability place where we can, hold each other accountable for our goals and our life's wishes, on our spiritual journeys, all of these things. I have big dreams, but again, I just wanted to get something literally on paper or published that we could get started on Patreon and then just let it blossom and grow from there. So I don't feel, the Discord will be very soon, but as far as the accountability groups and also me teaching you guys how I intuitively read tarot, that might be something that I either create a whole new Patreon tier for, or some sort of course or something, those who are interested in learning a more intuitive approach to learning the tarot, because we'll get into that. It's one of the Q&A questions, which I will dive into, about how I learned to read tarot and all of that. So let me just double check we don't have any other new patrons. Nope, Linda was our very last one. So we're just going to keep on trucking. Just a reminder, if you are here just jumping in, we are giving away 3 10-minute, which usually become more 20-minute readings on Zoom, for 3 of you who are becoming patrons before this live stream ends. We're going to do the giveaway at the very end of the live stream. We have the Q&A section left, and yeah, we probably won't be here all night, but I don't want to just sign off and leave you guys hanging, because you guys have some amazing questions that you asked me over the last week. Life Path 22, that's amazing. I'm going to go catch up on the chat, because I've been chatting. Let's see. Oh, wow, 17 in the chat as I'm talking about the highest tier. Synchronicity. Now there's 22. That's amazing. Okay. Yes, what do we have here? My dog's barking. I hope he goes away. I hope he just decides to go outside. I left the door open for him. Amanda has done so much for everyone. She's truly a wonderful person. Thank you so much, Ethan. I appreciate that. Katie R is here. Welcome. Can you guys hear Walter barking? Shut up. Hope you can't hear that, because he's annoying sometimes. I love him, but he's so annoying sometimes. Yes, she is amazing and tremendously gifted. Super honest and truthful about everything. Thank you so much, Jasui. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's interesting because I've really started diving into other aspects of astrology that I hadn't before, and I've really been researching the midheaven, which my midheaven is in Cancer, which Cancer midheavens, they just want to share the love and nurture people and, share advice and be intuitive, which, isn't kind of my vibe anyway. So really what you see is what you get. It's just sometimes I censor what all you're getting, because I at times still struggle to accept that people actually want to know who I am as a person, because I went many years with just so many people using me for what they could get out of me, and that was it. Like, they didn't really care about me as a person, they just cared about what they could get from me, and no more, no more, no more. All right. Yes, many of us care and understand you completely. Since I'm the same way, but I know we truly care what's going on with you in your life. Well, thank you. And Ethan's very excited about that Discord. Hello, D. Barcia. Welcome. Okay. Oh, Amber is number 8. I don't know that I saw that. It did not pop up yet, but I will take a gander over on my tab that I've got over here. It might just be delayed. I don't know. It says I have 8 patrons, so you weren't joshing us. I'm sure it will pop up. It's taking its sweet time. Let me just see what the notifications are saying over here. Interesting how this thing is. Yes, Amber! Oh, AJ also. AJ. Perfect. So I'm going to add Amber and AJ. Amber, Leopard. Okay, let me get this off here. Okay, so there's Amber. Fold it up. Put it in the box. Okay. Oops, I apologize. That's probably very loud. And then AJ. That. I'm just doing this to prove you guys. Okay, AJ. Fold it up. Drop it in the box. Okay. That's quiet. It's so loud. Okay, so I think I'm caught up on, yes, patrons. Okay. So now that we did that, I'm going to keep on chat, and then we will dive into some of the Q&A questions that you had some great questions, you guys. Well, welcome to Patreon, Amber and AJ. I'm so glad to have you. Yes, okay. All right. Ethan says, I need to be in that Discord server. Absolutely you do. That would be so fun. All right. Yes, you are the same when it comes to be that nurturing motherly figure, Ethan. Absolutely you are. Just Sui says, yes, I truly believe that I'm finding my soul family, and it's incredible how much my life has changed. After the first live, I'm not a full-time negative overthinking mommy anymore. Isn't that a great place to be? Because I was in that state of mind for so long until I wasn't anymore. And when you're not anymore, it's just such a sigh of relief. I've been focused on my vertex point in my chart, says Monica, and my birthday transit chart. Definitely something for us to discuss. Yes, there are any number of topics we could discuss and probably have like 12-hour live streams on, I'm sure. All right. Let me catch up here. I'm still behind on everybody's comments. Is that something we can learn about on Patreon, the midheaven and that stuff? You know, probably eventually that would be something we could dive into. I've only been heavily into astrology for the last 5 years or so, so I'm still considering myself an amateur, but like the amount of hours and hours and hours I have learned about Jyotish and Vedic astrology, there's still so much to learn. It's like tip of the iceberg kind of thing, and man, I am just excited to just let people know what I know and help people, harvest or harness that beautiful passion for learning anything at all. Let's see. Hello, Jessica. Welcome, Emmanuel. Let's see what else. Hello, Samantha. All right. Yeah, Twin Flame Synchronicity. Discord is the only social media I have, so I'm definitely excited for that. That's so cool. I love seeing all the new names here. So great to have everyone here. It'll be a wonderful place to be and feel the same way, Lorraine. Yes! Oh, you're a Life Path 4. That's so cool. I'm just loving all the love you guys are giving each other. It's amazing. Okay, so Q&A time. I don't have a special jingle, so we'll just play my background music for that. Okay. So most of your questions had to do with spiritual gifts and intuition and then a little touch of tarot. I did have a couple personal questions, not too many. But the first question, we're just going to start with the personal questions. We have from Juno's Milk, aka Earthy Deva. What are your children's names and where were you born? And then Christina P also was wondering about my family, my kids. So we will get it. We'll kind of bridge the gap with those two. My boys, I have Boston, who's 10, and Wrigley, who's 6. And I was born in Idaho. My mom is like a fifth generation Montanan who met my dad, who's a Californian, who moved to Idaho in the early 80s. And so I was born in Idaho, but I have lived, I would say 36 and a half years of my 39 years in Montana. So Montana is like home, home, home. Although where I was born in Coeur d'Alene, it's in a vortex point. So it's such high vibe, and I still really love and resonate with the area I was born in. It's literally like 2 hours away from where I live now. So I'm actually closer to where I was born, where I live now, than where I grew up. So I love it here, and I love it there. But yes, that's it for the first question. But Christina P wants to know, I always wonder how it is to have kids and be so deep into your spiritual calling. I find it hard to have balance. How old are your kids? Which I answered. Do they know what you do here on the channel? And do you have a partner? Yes, I have a wonderful husband who I have been with for over 17 years, closer to 18 years at this point. And we have been married since 2009. So carry the one. How many years is that? Like 12? 13? I always forget. I got married in May of 2009. 2009. Been together since January of 2004. So yes, his name is Ryan. And my kids, yes, they do know what I do on the channel. There's no way I could hide what I do from anybody anymore. That's another question. You know, how do people, we'll get into that, Vicky's question. But yeah, it's such a part of who I am and my spirit that I could not let them know what I do and who I am. And I just pretty much shout from the rooftops now, and I don't really care if someone has a problem with me or what I do. I can't hide anymore. I'm out of the spiritual closet, that is for sure. So how do I, so Christina P, the first part of her question, how is it to have kids and also be deep in your spiritual calling? Very difficult, but very fulfilling and rewarding at the same time, especially during the initial stages of my spiritual awakening, which really happened in 2016. The spontaneous Kundalini awakening that I had really took me down a peg or two with just who I knew myself to be and how I was showing up for myself and for others and how I was just operating. And it really it was like getting the wind knocked out of yourself. You just need a minute to reacclimate yourself. And I still struggle with knowing, and balancing all the areas of my life. I mean, I am a Libra ascendant, so that is a big part of what I'm here to learn as a soul here in this incarnation, is to learn how to balance work and family and self-care and all of the relationships and aspects of life. Like, I struggle so hardcore, you don't even know. Yeah, it's all, I'm like an all or nothing kind of person with a lot of things. So when I, like, for instance, when I was learning about astrology, like, that's all I did for months. And, I was doing the bare minimum to scrape by with everything else. But, like, I'm just, like, tunnel vision on what it is I'm learning. Any big spiritual thing that I go through, it's the same thing. It's very hard for me to exist in the third dimension when so much leveling up is going on. It's like I feel so much of my time, not so much since I've gotten my Moldavite, my Herkimer diamonds, my, what do you call this, Lemurian quartz, my black tektite, what else? My Agni Manatite, here's a big one of those. These crystals have really helped me feel more embodied than I did before, because I spent so much of my time just floating. Like, I felt like I was 3 feet above myself or out from myself a lot. And I just needed to ground. And meditation would just put me that much more way up in the clouds. And I just literally had to come to a point where I just kind of stopped meditating, and not like I closed myself down to spirit. I've never done that since it's been back on as an adult. We'll get into all of the backstory with that because there's lots of questions about that. But I just, there are some times that I just need to immerse myself in the mundane things, like washing my dishes, mopping my floor, cleaning the cobwebs all over the house, and, watering the plants, and just getting out in nature and hanging out in my garden, or going for a walk, or, letting the kids ride their bikes, and just really immersing myself in my body. Like, that has helped me, at the same time being open to spirit, but not letting it take me away on the clouds. That is such, up until probably 2 months ago, that was one of the hardest things since the awakening, is just learning to balance the spirituality and then the mundane life. It was very hard for me. Very hard. For almost 5 full years, it was very hard for me. But Vicky Downey wants to know, what is your favorite crystal? And also, how does your family and friends feel about your gifts and abilities? So my favorite crystal, like all-time crystal from like the time I was very young, was amethyst. Here's one right here, this kind of lighter colored amethyst. I have amethyst. I have amethyst all over this house, all over this abode, everywhere. And it was just, I call it my gateway crystal because it really was the first one to suck me in. But my current favorite, oh man, it is so hard. I'm that crystal bra hoarder girl. You can hear them all moving around. Let me grab just a little. Okay, so it's kind of a 3-way tie right now for my favoriteest crystal. Let me just pull a couple more out. Yes, they're everywhere. 3-way tie between Moldavite, as I drop it all. Moldavite. So there's Moldavite. And Libyan desert glass, which I got 3 of here as well. It's so hard to hold everything up all at the same time. 3 of those. Libyan desert glass. And I got 2 of them here. Lemurian quartz. Lemurian seed quartz. And 2 of them, these 2 right here specifically, I had one in my lap. These are singing Lemurian quartzes. And this one here is not. So you can hear the difference. Just kind of a whatever. And then this one, kind of a higher pitch. And then this one. They're 2 different tones, but they're both singing. So those, like a 3-way tie for my favorite crystals currently. And I just love all 3 of those right now. It's like my favorite combination of all time, even to put Libyan desert glass and Moldavite and the Lemurian quartz together. I just am on cloud 9, but yet also grounded enough, because my kind of runner-up is the Agni Manatite, which doesn't look that pretty, but this thing is powerful for both connection to spirit and grounding. Yes, so much. When you did the singing, my third eye has a bunch of pressure. Yes, right? It awakens things in us. It really does. Oh, Sue is here. Let me just say hi to those who have come in. Thank you so much, Solar Siren, aka Jessa, aka my 4th patron. Thank you so much. They help me find balance and come back to and be in both realms. Oh, you're talking about the crystals? I think you are. Hi, tribe. I love you, and I'm so happy for you, Amanda. Where we go one, we go all. Hello, Susie. Welcome. Abby, I really relate and understand to the disembodied feeling. I have such a hard time grounding. Yeah. Just getting out in nature barefoot, just doing mundane tasks and trying to shut my mind off, like that really helps me. And the crystals, I try not to be too dependent on the crystals, but like they work with me, and I'm very grateful for them. I'm clearing them almost constantly these days, just as thank you, and giving them a break here and there as well. Yes. And let's see. Yes, Lori woke up on Christmas Day. What a day to wake up, right? What a great present. Although it doesn't feel like a gift in the moment because it's a lot. Thank you so much, Tracy. I appreciate that. Let's see. Yeah, some people don't have to have this totally like life turned on its head kind of awakening like I did. And all told, though, it was an internal turning on head. Not a lot changed in my external life. We'll get into that more, but my what I did for work, I was a professional photographer for years before this awakening happened, and my business just dried up overnight, and that kind of led to the dark night of the soul that led to the spontaneous Kundalini awakening, which was just domino, domino, domino. But Vicky, to answer after the crystal question, how does your family and friends feel about your gifts and abilities? Well, it's interesting because I have a very supportive family, and my mom herself is very intuitive and has always been awakened to her gifts. And she really just nurtured me to be whoever it was I wanted to be. So it wasn't her that I shut my gifts down because of or anything like that. It was just being scared of things and wanting to fit in school is kind of what shut me down early. I was born awake. We'll get into that more as well. But as far as like right now, I think at first my husband was very scared, like what's going on with her. But I think quickly he learned that, okay, she's just going through something. But I'm here and I'm supportive. Even if I don't understand what's going on with her, I'm here, which really was exactly what I needed. I didn't need someone to try to talk me out of what I was going through, which I have some friends whose significant others just kind of tried to talk them out of it. And, no, it's okay. Let's just go back to life the way it was. Like, I'm just lucky he just kind of held space. He didn't try to push me one way or another. Like, I'm so lucky. My mom was like open ears, open arms, open everything. Was, her and I kind of triggered each other to awaken even more. My brother and sister, I think, were very worried about me at first. Like, do we need to put her in some sort of mental place? But as far as like close friends, they seemed like, oh, cool, awesome. Like, they've always known me as someone who's very intuitive. So like this was, I guess, the most natural next logical step. So there's that. So for the most part, I haven't like lost any major players in my life that I can think of off the top of my head because of who I am. So I've been very lucky in that regard that I think I've just kind of, I guess, curated the relationships that I did have in my life to where when the awakening did happen, the people that were in my life were already vetted and really good people that I didn't have to have these tower moments with a whole bunch of people in my life. So yay for me, which I know it's not that way for everybody. So I really do count myself as very lucky, and I'm very grateful that I didn't have to have a bunch of tower moments in different relationships in my life. So that was good. Okay, so now we're going to get into this other section here. So Mom 21AZ, who I do believe is Linda Haggerty. I could be wrong, though. Just don't quote me on that. How did you know you had this gift or ability? So like I was saying, I was born very turned on, tuned in, whatever you want to call it. I had the imaginary friends, and I spoke to nature, and nature spoke back to me, and it was just a very magical time being a young child, but at the same time, scary time. It's interesting because I could see darkness around certain people and then colors around others as a very young child. I haven't quite gotten that gift back yet, but I get glimpses of it. If I really tune in and feel into the energy, I can again see auras, but it takes a minute. It's not something, or if it's someone I'm meeting who's also very spiritual, it's just a knowing. It's not something usually, it's like a knowing, and then after the knowing comes, then I see it, if that makes sense. But as far as me knowing I had this gift or ability, I didn't really know. I just thought everybody was like that. And then, you get into school and then middle school. And I had mentioned something in middle school about how, oh, I can't wait for Wednesdays. I love blue days. And someone's like, blue days? What's that mean? I'm like, blue days? Wednesdays are blue, right? Like, doesn't everyone know this? And I got made fun of for like weeks after that. Like, oh, what color is my whatever? And like people were making fun of me. And that's when I learned, I didn't know what it was, but I learned at that point I was different. And I wasn't so forthcoming about just these beautiful ways of living and operating that I just leaned on as a young person anymore. It kind of got shut down. So what else? What else? About middle school, I was shutting it down with that, and then a lot of dark um, entities and stuff were coming and hanging out because I was very depressed through a lot of my early teen, even into mid 20s. Pretty much a span of 10 to 12 years there. It was just the word that comes to mind to describe me and how I felt about life was just melancholy. And it wasn't until my mid 30s that I really, the spontaneous Kundalini awakening happened when I was 34. And it all just started coming back and it flooded back. But at that point, I wasn't afraid. I wasn't in resistance. I just surrendered to it. And I couldn't have gotten a better deal out of it than to surrender. It wasn't easy, but it just served me so much more than how I resisted it as a young teen, kind of tween-ager. Yeah, it's just a different vibe now than it was when I was younger. There was a lot of dark entities that were very interested in me when I was younger. Now I don't deal with that so much, or if they are around, it's almost like a little fly buzzing around your head. Like it's not even a big deal to me now. But back then it was everything. It was so scary. It was just too much. So yeah, I had to, I guess, through the years, learn to balance all that out. And even back then, I did have access and support from my guidance system, and I could feel them, but I didn't know how to put it into words. What it was that I felt. I would give names to these specific feelings, and again with the color associations, and I called the guide Michael. This was before I knew anything about Archangel Michael, and when I started learning in my 30s about Archangel Michael, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's my Michael. It's Archangel Michael. How am I so special that Archangel Michael himself is working with me? But then I learned that, Archangel Michael can work with anybody who wants to work with him because he can be anywhere and everywhere all at once because time is different where the angelic realm is. So, yes, and I had other guides that I would call by name as well. Some have come and gone. But even if they have gone, if I want to get in contact, all I have to do is tune in and there they are. So it's really not like they're gone, so to speak, but there are certain ones that without me trying, I know they're there. I can feel them all the time, that kind of thing. So next question. Lori says, I would like to know, how do you know psychically when a different spirit comes in to speak to you so you can deliver a message to the person you're reading or channeling for? Interesting, because I was just kind of talking about how I had just this feeling. And usually it starts as a feeling, and then my clairvoyance will kind of come in and project, or my clairaudience. Sometimes I'll hear names, sometimes I'll hear words. It's just in the last probably 9 months that I have admitted to myself that I am a medium or a channel, because before that I'm like, oh, I wish I could do that, but I could never do that. Even though I've been doing it my whole life, I just couldn't see it. It was like it was so close to me, I couldn't even see it because I couldn't separate myself from it because it was me. But as I've claimed it and just like, okay, spirit, you want to really dish out this gift, then let's just bring it on. And as I have accepted that, it's increased so much. And now I can even sometimes get specific names for people of, when their grandma comes in, sometimes that grandma will give me her name. And it's not even like she's whoever is speaking English to me. It's more of just a download of knowing, kind of like showing me a history, showing me just feelings or glimpses of things, or hearing tail ends of songs that I've never heard. And then that's left for my little brain up here to try to unpack. What is the spirit trying to show me, tell me, make me feel? And then how do I then tell, the person who needs to receive this message? I'm still working all of that out, because as those of you who do join me over my live stream channel, even when you ask a question, because I've opened up now as this channel for crossover loved ones to come in, a lot of times your crossover loved ones will hijack your reading about your career, or your reading about, is my boyfriend coming back to me, because there are certain messages that your ancestors have or a crossover loved one has for you that because there's now an opportunity that you can literally get hit over the head with a message, here it is. Sometimes they will hijack the readings, and they've been doing that more frequently lately. So if you're ever wanting to hear from a crossover loved one, come to the live stream. It happens very frequently now. There's another part of your question here. Does the energy feel different, or do you sense a different spirit? Yes and yes. Sometimes they will literally draw out like the number 2 in my mind's eye. Sometimes I'll just get a feel. Sometimes it's more in my peripheral vision or in my mind's eye. I can see not like a number of, kind of shadows or lights, and that'll let me know how many people are here or how many souls have come in. And it's not always the same, because certain souls really lean on my clairaudience, other souls really lean on my clairvoyance, others lean on the claircognizance. It's like a mixed bag. Sometimes I only just get a very, very faint sense of that this person's loving and that they just want you to know they're okay and they love you. Like sometimes it's just very faint connection and just a sense of things. Other times it's specifics down to like, very specific things. Like with Monica, one of the first pick of cards that she ever saw of mine was, I literally was channeling her childhood and her father coming through, and even had his name right. And the thunderstorms, and I got chills. He's here. John is here. Her father, John, is here. Which even in the reading, I'm like, John is such a common name. Like I almost feel like that's why would I say the name, because it's so common. I mean, that could be anybody. But everything that came with that message, Monica can let you know. It was there. So I think it has a lot to do with your connection to me, your connection to the crossed over spirit, and then my connection to the crossed over spirit. So it's kind of like a love triangle kind of vibe there, Lori, is how I see, sense, feel, hear, taste, touch. Yeah, even taste. Sometimes I can even taste something, and then I don't really know how to interpret that, so I will then give that to the person I'm reading for. Like, does this mean anything to you? Maybe you can help me figure out what this is meaning. Let me go catch up on your little chats here. Let's see. You guys are talkative, which I love. I love all of this interaction. Okay, so here we are. Thank you so much, Joan. I appreciate it. If you're still here, hi, Joan. I've known Joan for a very long time as well. We met in a Sims 2 group, my Sims 2 group, back in like 2005. So it's been a hot minute. Man, so long ago. Oh, man. Okay, so let's see. I'm still trying to wrap my head around those compliments since I'm not one to have a good view of myself. LOL, Ethan says. Yeah. Me in high school, me in my early 20s, me in my early 30s, me up till my awakening. Yes, that was me as well. Amber says, I fall asleep for 5 minutes or so randomly during the day, sometimes several times a day. I call it speed dreaming because it seems like a long dream. Oh, yes, I call that, Amber, I call that being taken out. My team likes to do that to me a lot when the Schumann resonance is really popping off or the sun is giving a lot of solar flares and activity. The magnetics, it has to do with the magnetics is what they always tell me. And they just need me to take me out, even if it's just for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. And then I wake up, and like when I wake up, it feels like every cell in my body has a propeller on it spinning at top speed. And as I become more conscious to, back to waking life, it slows down and slows down and slows down until it's just kind of a little hum, which the hum is always there. Like since that Kundalini awakening, my hands, there's always just a low hum. Sometimes a high hum when I feel certain people need healing, or if I just need to offload some healing energy to someone, something. Even sometimes like areas like that I'm out walking in nature need just a little love and healing, and I'll just send it. Yeah, so I can totally attest to that. What's happening to me? Oh, that's happening to you too, Lori. Yeah, we're being taken out because there's a lot of upgrades going on. Those of you who know about this whole shift from 3D to 5D Earth, really, we're not technically going anywhere. It's just our vibration or our frequency is shifting. Our consciousness is shifting. And as within, so without. So as your consciousness raises, everything around you has no choice but to shift with you as well. So yeah, we are going through a new place in the solar system, or not the solar system, the galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy. We're just speeding through at places we've never been before. But what it's doing is it's elevating the consciousness to bring us into what they call the age of Aquarius, or just a better time on Earth. But of course, it looks like a dumpster fire if you look on any news media or social media. It's a lot. Like, we're going through a lot, but the old makes a lot of noise dying before the new can come in. That's how I'm seeing this. So the fact that we're actually seeing a lot of this chaos play out right now is actually a good thing. It's letting us know that it's now that darkness is now brought to the light. And now that we can see it, we can do something about it, right? Because you can't fix what you can't see or feel or know about. I agree, Susie. So proud. It's so liberating to be authentic and proud of it. Yes, right? 34 marked the beginning of your second cycle in life in numerology. I did not know that. That's numerology, something I know the bare minimum about. I need to learn more about it. I love numerology. I'm seeing repeating numbers all the time. I'm sure all of you are as well, because that's just what happens. I need to look more into that whole thing about second cycle of life. I'm interested in that. So it's intimidating at first to realize you are talking with Archangel Michael, right? Yeah, it does come with time, Ethan. Yeah, it's hard. Even when you think you've got it all figured out spiritually, something happens to remind you you don't have anything figured out. And now you got to start, not all over, but spiritual awakening and your spiritual progression is not this linear line that you can just dot, 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 dot up on the graph. It's like up, down, all around, swirls. It's like a ragged up ball of yarn that a cat has really just done with what it wanted to do with. That's what real spirituality is for the human. It's a lot. Sometimes you can feel like you have reached your spiritual pinnacle, and then 2 months later, you feel like you're not even spiritual anymore. What happened? So much. Yeah, it's a lot. But just know, anything you have experienced, any pinnacles you've reached, it's not like you lose those when you go back down again. You still have that. And a lot of times when you get used to that higher vibration of where you're at now compared to where you were, it almost just feels like everyday life. Like, well, it's nothing special. I'm not that spiritual anymore, because you're just embodying everything you've just learned. That's how I see it anyway. Let's see. There isn't anyone who can teach you personally because all situations are different. Absolutely. I liken this to a mountain. Our human experience is like we are on this mountain, and each of us as an individual soul is taking a different path up the same mountain of humanity or human experience. We're all going to do it our own way, or a different way than our partner, our neighbor, our friend, our parents. Even if we really align with certain people and it's like we're running parallel paths, sometimes one of us takes a detour, swirls around, and then this one's over here, and then sometimes we meet back up. But no two souls are on the exact same trajectory, on the exact same path. So if you can remind yourself of that and just know how completely individual and authentic and unique you are, you will then realize that your life can't be blueprinted after anyone else's life or path, because you're on your own path. So it's really powerful. All right. Let's see. That's exactly what I needed to know. Great explanation. Oh, thank you. You are so welcome. Absolutely. So Monica says, surrender to me is allowing myself to be led. Yes, absolutely. Allowing myself to trust what I hear and know it is a purpose, or it is for a purpose and from a higher source. Yeah, I shared a story recently on my live stream about when I was about ready to go to college and I had my college money stolen. And I knew who stole it because I literally only showed one person where it was in my jewelry box. And the fact that money was stolen was very devastating in the moment. And for, weeks, if not months to years later, I was still like, how could that have happened? That's so horrible. But then I started college and, years later, started college in a different place. Well, I had already gotten a degree, but started college again in another place and was just like $500 shy of what I needed to go to school. And I'm like, okay, there's going to be a way. I just know it. Like, I wasn't stressing out about it. I was just leaving it up to the universe, or, the fact that I would somehow, some way make that money in time. Because I was that guy in college. I did not take out a single student loan. I wanted to just pay it all as I went and not have that hanging over my head. So I would sell used clothing. I'd go to all the different thrift stores and get the brand name clothing, the really nice clothing, and then I would sell it on eBay for a decent profit. That's how I paid my way. That was my college job experience. That's what I did. But I was still just about $500 shy. But what happened? The $1,500 that was stolen, there were 3 boys involved. Of course, the boy that I told was the instigator of it all, because he said, hey, there's $1,500 for the taking. Let's go get it. And the third boy, I was kind of on the outskirts, like, okay, I guess I'll hang out because you're hanging out. But he actually contacted me on MySpace back in the day through his wife's account and said, hey, I just wanted to confess something. I stole your money. And me and the 2 other boys, and my share was $500, and I would like to repay that right when I needed it. So yes, in the moment when that money was stolen, I was angry. I was devastated. I couldn't go to college that semester, but Spirit had other ideas, and it just lent really well. When I needed it, everything worked out in the divine way. So even when things aren't going my way from the ego standpoint, or I've lost something, or something looks like it's not going to work out, I have learned just through wisdom and experience of life in 39 years that everything has always worked out exactly the way it's needed to, for my highest growth, for my best lessons in life, for my ultimate happiness. So just knowing that, I still, where I'm at now, at times need to remind myself, just because I'm not living in the house that I want to be my forever home right now, in the town I want me to be my forever town right now, I still have to remind myself, eventually and in divine time, I will be where I need to be. So obviously right now I need to be here. So of course I will take steps and actions to go where I want to go, but it's not very feasible right now because the prices have pretty much doubled on properties and homes in my area, which they were already very high. Now they are twice as high, like double the amount. And I don't want to pay those high prices. So I'm going to have some patience, see how it all works out. All right. So let me keep catching up here. Yes, makes so much sense. There was I did feel there was a sense of trust. Yes. If you allow it and accept it as truth for you, it can be the key to help. Absolutely. All right. Oh, it really jumped. I lost some stuff here. Yeah, you guys are still talking. Ethan, I think. I'm going to try to catch up. Because we still have a few more questions. At least probably 12 more questions, if not more. I'm taking my time. Well, I don't think we've had any other, what do you call them? Patron pledges. I think that's how they word that over there. So I'm just making sure that I haven't missed. I'm going to go click over here. So I'm going to leave my screen for just a second, just to make sure I haven't missed anybody that we need to put in the drawing for our giveaway. It says I have one new. Okay, Tracy baby. So we will put Tracy on here and go ahead and get her in the deal. I'm sure I spelled that not correctly, but there we go. Tracy baby, folding her up and putting her in here with everyone else. Okay, so we've got 9 patrons and counting. So excited. My goal was 11 patrons by the end of September, so we're 2 away already. I can't believe this. You guys are amazing. Awesome. Okay, I think I skipped a nice chunk of this backlog of you guys talking, which I apologize, but if there are, hello B-Degree, Brianna's here. If I did skip anything you guys were talking about, I apologize. I just want to try to keep up with the current of what we're talking about here. Yeah, okay. I want to let you know that it's great to connect with you further. I love learning more about who you are as a soul. Thank you so much, Abby. I appreciate that. Awesome. Okay. Hello, Karen. Welcome to the chat. Zara's here. Thank you so much. Lunar Refresh, aka Zara, my soul sister. You had a dream last night. We met up in the astral realm, and I gave you a big sisterly hug. Very curious if you felt the love too. I was gonna message you earlier. I just felt you very near to me, and I just wanted to message you earlier, and then didn't because busy day. Like I had all these things I wanted to accomplish today, but most of my day was spent out in my lawn, holding my high vibe crystals, just trying to not be so anxious and nervous for tonight because there was that ego part of me that's like, nobody's going to become a patron and your launch party is going to be a flop. And then the other part of me is like, so what if it is? You can still hang out with your high vibe tribe. You can answer your questions and still have a good time. It's not all about getting, a number, which it's not anyway. But, that ego part of yourself is, I'm going to fail if I don't, have a very successful launch. And, all the things our minds will tell us. And by the time I got here, I was nervous, but in a good way. It wasn't like, all the other things. Hello, Ethan and Lori. Baby is doing well, but staying very much inside the belly. Yes. Okay, where were we on our little list of questions here? So Catherine Dotson wanted to know, I've been wanting to get into tarot. Do you have a deck recommendation for a beginner? I do. And what I would say for a beginner would be, because most, not all, but most tarot decks are based on the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck. So I would start there. Even if you're not really called to the, what do you call them? The artwork on the deck, you can get a modernized version of that set deck, the Rider-Waite-Smith. It's called the Modern Witch Tarot, which is based on the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith, but it's depicted by all women or more feminine energies, kind of almost non-binary energies as well at times. But to me, this deck has got a modern twist on, the traditional Rider-Waite. So I would start there because a lot of decks for beginners, to be able to really read intuitively, I do find Rider-Waite-Smith deck a great starting point. But my second suggestion would be, once you get that deck, put the book away. Put it or give it to someone that you can't have access, and try, as you might, not to go on Google and be like, well, what does the Seven of Cups mean when you get it in a reading? Just try to use your intuition. Pick a card. Let's do a little quick example. So throw the book away. Try not to memorize all of the responses with this, because I got my first tarot deck in 1997. It's been that long. I was a freshman in high school in 1997. And look here. So we'll just take, this is what I did. What happened was, that's my K2 in the third house, or my South Node in the third house. I try to tell a story and then I give 50 side tangents and then come back. That's why editing is so important for writers, especially writers like me, because I just can't funnel my idea into one thing. But I'm actually glad now, again, divine timing, divine intervention, lost that book for me, and I had to just learn these things on my own just by looking at the card and saying, I wonder what this could mean. What could this represent? And really looking at the little details in the card, the symbolism, and all of that. So we'll just take a little example here. Even if you don't know what the Three of Pentacles represents, just looking at the Rider-Waite-Smith, this is a modern take on that. But these people, she's doing a drawing study of this woman here. And this person here looks like a teacher or some sort of mentor kind of guiding this person, more of a student energy, right? And that's very creative to me, because drawing takes, and it takes some courage to do what she's doing there. Sorry for those under 18. I apologize, there's nudity here. But yeah, it takes a little bit of courage to get up there and, bear all for someone to draw you. Paint me like one of your French girls, Jack, or draw me like one of your French girls. That's Titanic reference for those that don't know. But I think just looking at the symbolism here, maybe even the color scheme, can really give you some ideas on what could this Three of Pentacles represent. These three people are working together to create something. That's collaboration. And that's exactly what this represents. Collaboration. Courage, collaboration. I always associate threes also with the third house, which is communication. But also pentacles represent earth energy, so grounding an idea and creating something with it, like that painting there. So that's one way you can just use your intuition to break down, what does this card mean? That being said, other tarot decks, that do not follow the Rider-Waite-Smith deck kind of outline or storyline, I guess you could call it, are a little hard for someone who's a beginner. But if you're someone who's intermediate to advanced, go ahead and get yourself one of those decks. They also have something that is called a pip deck, which has pictures for the first 22 cards. The Fool is counted as card 0 all the way through the wheel or the world. I always mix it up. I think it's a world, the wheel, one of the two. That's number 21. So the first 22 cards would have a depiction, but then all of the pentacles, cups, wands, swords would just have a picture of maybe the amount of swords and not much else to go on. So that would be a very difficult deck for a beginner to learn on. But if you're advanced, you already kind of know and can use your intuition and maybe even use the colors of this non-traditional pip deck to figure out. I mean, guess pip decks are pretty traditional, but not Rider-Waite-Smith traditional. Okay. So I hope that answered your question. So the Law of Attraction Journal says, congratulations, I have 2 questions. I'm curious how you use your intuition, the feeling you get, and how you can tell the difference between your thoughts, rationale, and intuition. Okay, so I'm good at your intuition exercises and pick-a-card readings, but still find it difficult to really hone in on that distinct feeling of my intuition. And that is not something I can easily answer, even for just myself, because that intuition will show up very differently depending on circumstances, depending on the other people's energies that are involved, depending on the day of the week it is, depending on my mood, depending. So it is something that I really can't answer. It's so hard to answer, even just in my own little whatever's going on here, because there are times where it's a very distinct feeling and other times where it's very faint. And other times it's just a knowing that I have no thought involved. And usually that's my best bet, is to just know it before I know it. It's like I know it before I can actually mentally register that I know it. Like a lot of times I will click on a pick a card and before I even click on the pick a card, I'm like, I hear the word 2 in my mind, or I see the number 2 in my mind, or just get a sense. The second I see it, I hone it right in on deck 2 or 3 or whatever it is, before my logical mind can even have a chance to get involved. Because there are those times that I'm like, okay, which one am I going to pick here? Okay. And then 4 minutes later, I'm still like, I don't know what one's for me, because my mind is thoroughly invested and has completely hip checked my intuition right out of the way. So I still at times, even as someone who is very intuitive, struggle in certain instances. I would say though, with the pick a card example, if a lot of the, Lori can attest to this, because Lori does this a lot on my channel. She'll pick all 3 selections. But it's usually because the collective messages are very similar between the 3 that it makes it that much more difficult to figure out, well, which one is mine? Because if you actually watched all 3 of them, you would realize they're very intertwined, or at least the underlying energies are very similar. And that's why you may have had a hard time deciding which one was for you. But if you watch a pick a card where 3 piles are very distinctly different, I would say intuitively you're able to more easily pick up intuitively which one is for you. Another weird way one of the first times I was really on to this thing, I just know things, I'm just intuitive, was in my early 20s. My best friend / twin flame, John, who passed away in 2016, him and I, this was, pre-cell phone. This is 2003, summer of 2002, and then again, summer of 2003 through all the way to the beginning of 2004. It was like our heyday of hanging out and just, all of that. But I lived in a different town than he did for most of that. And I would drive my almost 3.5 to 4 hours from where I was going to school to my hometown every single weekend so I could hang out with my best friend. But he didn't have a cell phone. I didn't have a cell phone. And it's not like we made prior arrangements. Okay, I'm going to be here. You be there. Okay, we'll meet at this time. We didn't do any of that. I would just get into town. I would park in my mom's driveway, go in, say hi to her, do all the things. And then I would get back in my car. Before I started the car and went anywhere, I would just close, I had my hands on the steering wheel. I just closed my eyes and okay, John, where are you? And I just almost felt like my heartbeat pick up, and I would just kind of tune out. I mean, of course, I was very alert to the driving I was doing, but not the reason why I was going the direction I was or whatever. And 9 times out of 10, I would find him within an hour. which sounds crazy. Imagine if you just had to find somebody without cell phones or prior plans, but you just knew they were somewhere in town and you find them. Like that's a way I'm like, wow. And he would do the same with me. Like he would find me in the most random of places. And I would think, well, someone told me, well, John's out of town. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'll figure something else to do this weekend, hang out with other friends and do whatever. And he would find me. He would find me. Like he's back in town early or something. He would find me. And I just thought, of course there will be, you guys can probably attest to this with certain people in your life, but it would take a special connection probably to be able to intuitively, literally track them down in town wherever you were. But the times that I didn't find him, it was usually because he was in a really bad mood or I wasn't in the best mood. So trying to get to a neutral or higher vibration will definitely help you. If you're in a low mood, you're already kind of up in your head when you're in a low mood a lot of times. At least I am. I don't know if that's everybody, but I am. When I'm in a low mood, I'm up in my head and my intuition is very quiet below the screaming of whatever's going on. So sometimes getting quiet is your best bet to really tune in. Getting quiet and trying to turn the mind off, or if you can't turn the mind off, try to think of things unrelated to whatever it is you need to use your intuition for, if time allows. I mean, obviously, if you're watching a pick a card, you can't spend all day like trying to tune out to tune in, right? So yeah, again, using your intuition to figure out how to use your intuition will really aid you, I think. The second question is from the Law of Attraction Journal. How do you link the meaning of tarot cards to form a story? Well, like I was saying with that traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck, it kind of does it for you intuitively. Even if you don't have the guidebook and you're just laying the cards out in order, they really do play or build on each other. And sometimes I also, like if I draw, I don't know, say a 5 of swords and an 8 of swords, sometimes I will have those two cards. And what's the difference between 5 and 8? It's the number 3. So sometimes I can, if I'm struggling to really realize, well, what's the story here? Sometimes splitting the difference between the numbers involved in the cards can help you figure it out, because the 5 of swords is all about, maybe speaking and not saying nice things and winning, but you might lose friends in the process. The 8 of swords is all about that mental kind of prison you put yourself in, that ego getting in the way and making you feel you're stuck or stagnant and all that stuff. The difference between those two, in this example, so to speak, would be the 3 of swords, which is heartbreak, major disappointment. So that could be the thing that brings these two cards together, is there was a major disappointment that happened and it resulted in these two things happening. You know what I'm saying? Yes, so I'm going to catch back up on some of your comments before I dive into more questions. You guys are just having a chatty time. I love it. You love that card in the Modern Witch Tarot. I love how it clearly shows them bringing their own strengths to the table. I love that as well. Yes. Let's see. Let me keep going. I'm trying to just get to the heart of what's going on here. Sometimes your guides will give you a color if the reader is not using stones, and then I can hear numbers. Yeah, there's a multitude of ways. Just what I said is just kind of little quick examples of sometimes how it goes. But some readers, like Rosology, she actually uses tones for those clairaudience, which to me I think is genius. But I don't want to do that because I don't want to copy her, you know what I mean? So I'll find my way to do it, I guess. But I love that she provides that, because it's usually with Rosology's pick-a cards, I choose by the clairaudient way. I don't know if it's just custom tailored to her, or if other readers would start doing that, if I would then also more lean on the clairaudience. I don't know. Interesting to find out. When your monkey mind gets out of control, use crochet or Sudoku. I always say that wrong. Which I love both of those things, crochet and Sudoku. I love both of those things dearly. So fun. Yeah, quiet that mind and really get it immersed in what you're doing. Lose yourself in your task at hand, so to speak. And I will, a lot of times, that's how I get communication. Like, I always use that term, like washing the dishes, or like even Sudoku. My like ego mind is kind of out the door because that analytical mind is online. So then if I do get a download or a thought that feels very creative or inspirational in some way, I know 100% of the time that's spirit checking on in, because that's how they can get me. I'm a Gemini moon, guys. So in Vedic astrology, in Western astrology, I am a Cancer moon. But I really do resonate with both the Cancer moon and the Gemini moon. I really do. Yes, music helps quiet your mind. Yeah, I can really open up into my intuition with music. That is I'm glad you mentioned that, Lunar. I got this bright light, and then the blinds are kind of giving me weird shadows. I apologize for that. I swear I'm not as shiny as I look. But yes, music is such a gateway to spirit for me, and probably for many of you. Many empaths and many clairaudient people really do connect to music, and then further connect to spirit or their own higher selves, their own intuition. Yes, absolutely. Oh, good. Welcome, Whitney. You have the hardest time meditating. Sometimes I can almost trance but usually it's my mind running or I fall asleep. Yeah, well, fun fact about falling asleep during meditation. Don't think you have failed your meditation, because what I have gotten in my own guidance from my guides, they let me know that sometimes there's just a lot they need to say, or a lot that, downloads that need to come in for me, that means being in a meditative state, right? My ego's still kind of on the periphery, right? But if they literally just help me fall asleep and completely, as I say, take me out, they can then work with me the way that they see fit, or the way my higher self sees fit in that moment. So if you fall asleep while meditating, actually give yourself a clap, because you are being open enough to allow your consciousness to reach an even higher state, that you fall asleep. So your conscious mind just kind of goes off where it goes, and you're not, embodied, so to speak, but you're still getting all the benefits. So don't beat yourself up if that's hard for you. Yes, ever since you started that, those tones help so much. I love it. Yes. Ooh, something's going on. I got chills. Woo! I got some crown chills. Michael puts me to sleep when I can't meditate. Yep. Yeah. And I keep getting taken out during meditation lately, and again, that ego mind is like, just focus, Amanda. But I'm so focused sometimes that I do fall asleep lately. I went many years without falling asleep at all during meditation, but I did a meditation the other night, and right before bed, which is a pretty decent time to just go ahead and let yourself fall asleep anyway. But woke up, and I just knew I got it. I got out of the meditation exactly what I needed to in that moment. So I felt like, I'm glad I fell asleep, because I was taken even deeper. Even if it's not on my conscious mind, my subconscious, that Akashic records, it's stored. It's ready when I need the information that was coming through. Yeah, dream time is a big time for messages to come through. Absolutely, Amber. Yeah, not bad at all. Yes, everyone is creative. We are creator beings as humans. We really are. Even if you don't feel creative, you create your reality. You co-create it with spirit, right? All right, what else do we have here? Michelle Lynn asks, when did you first notice you had this amazing ability, and what events led up to your Kundalini awakening, and how did that transition impact you? Oh, my stars. So I first noticed these gifts, abilities as a child, but again, it wasn't probably till middle school, about 6th grade, where I realized, okay, I'm different than other people, and I don't want to be. I don't want to be different. I want to fit in. I want to not be that weird person. So let's shut her down. And during, which I already talked about, so if you're just popping in, you can go back and watch that if you feel so inclined. As far as what events led up to my Kundalini awakening and how that transition impacted me, this could be a whole story time, a whole thing on its own. But just points of interest, I guess, would be, I was researching my book, my spiritual / paranormal young adult. It was a duology at the time that expanded to a trilogy that is now a 4-part series, a quartet, if you will, with 2 companion novels. So yes, basically 6 novels stemmed from this. But Kurt Cobain from Nirvana, I was doing not research, so to speak, about my books or for my books, although in a roundabout way I was. But I was reading a lot of other young adult books, not to get ideas, because I already had the ideas. Those ideas were coming, and for days and days and days I had ideas. It was more just to get a feel for the pacing that other authors had going on in their books, and just, structure of the story, pointing back to one event leading to another, to another, to another. Just reading books actually helps me get in the zone writing. And I can be reading about somebody walking to work, as an example, and then I will get a flash of insight as to what needs to happen in the climax of my book, which has nothing to do with walking to work, something happening at gunpoint, something with this, something with that. So me reading kind of puts me in a trance state to open me up to get ideas from spirit for my own writing. So I was doing a lot of reading. Again, circling back, K2 / South Node in the third house. I get to the point eventually. But I was doing a lot of reading and research, and everywhere, in every single young adult novel that I pulled just intuitively off the shelf at the library to bring home and then read, either mention Kurt Cobain or Nirvana, or they were listening to Nirvana music, or I would turn on my radio and Kurt Cobain and Nirvana was playing, or I would go out in public and everybody was wearing Nirvana shirts. And this was not something I had noticed at all before May of 2016. So keep going, all the way up till September, going into October of 2016. And Kurt Cobain is constantly there. No matter what I do, I can't get him to leave. And that part of me that was awakened, here he is, yes. Can't talk about him without him being here. I'll show you what I'm looking at. We got this. Kurt Cobain, Funko. Yes. But anyway, Kurt, he's never far away anyway, but especially during this time in my life, there he is. He can hang out over there. Even though he likes to come in on my right side, which he is right here. Which, interesting. There's his Nirvana logo. I totally forgot about that. There we go. But anyway, yes, Kurt is very powerful, and he works with a lot of artists, people who are awakening, writers, he works with a lot of creative people, which, again, we're all creative. So if you want to connect to Kurt, have at it. But I wasn't trying to connect to Kurt. He connected to me and would not go away, was telling me, okay, the book needs to have this, the book needs to have that. And I was literally working in tandem with Kurt Cobain, writing my books, researching things for my books. And everywhere I turned, synchronicity was off the chain so much that I would just fall to the ground laughing hysterically that how many more Nirvana references can I get in a day when I'm not trying to search anything Nirvana. I leave my house and it's on the radio, or just I was sitting at a coffee shop with one of my friends, and someone was like, "Oh, something about," I don't remember the exact what do you call it, conversation, but they're like, "Yeah, Nirvana something, Kurt Cobain," and I'm like, "Really? And that let me know, okay, he really is here. I'm not making this up. I'm not just some crazy person that is having this go on. Like, it's just crazy." But yeah, so that really led up. And I had a dream on September 30th. It was the night before our big college Montana Grizzlies homecoming parade. And it was a very vivid dream, the most vivid dream I had had in years. And I have very vivid dreams anyway, but this just takes it up to a whole other level. But I was in the dream, I was in a convenience store, and I'm like shopping and looking around at all these sunglasses and like trucker hats, which I don't wear sunglasses really for the most part, and I don't wear trucker hats for the most part. But in the dream, I'm shopping and looking at these things, and this woman comes up to me, blonde hair, piercing, like icy blue, gorgeous eyes, looks at me, and she's like, "You look really good in blue." And I'm like, "Oh, really? Thank you. I don't wear a lot of blue." Or I said in the dream, I wear a lot of blue, which wasn't true for me at the time. And even now, I don't wear a lot of blue, but in the dream, I said, I wear a lot of blue, which I woke up, I'm like, why did I lie to that lady in the dream? I don't wear a lot of blue. But by the end of the dream, she's like, "Well, it's good that you wear a lot of blue because you're a Blu-ray soul." And I had never heard that. I'm like in the dream even, I'm like the DVD player? No, like the color blue. And I'm like, oh, okay, thanks, all right, bye. And then like the dream was over, right? So that next day, we take the kids. They're all dressed up as Monty, who's the grizzly mascot, and we're just hoping to see Monty. Like that's the highlight of the whole thing for us and the kids. And this, I get chills just saying this story. But anyway, so I'm just having a good time, very in the moment, very present. That's when you're gonna get these amazing knockout of the park synchronicities, when you're very present. You can't be distracted. You can't be scrolling your phone. You got to be in the moment. You got to be present. And this lady's come by. She's handing a bunch of people flags and going down the line. And the lady gets to me, hands me a flag. I looked, up at her face to say thank you. And that's those same piercing blue eyes and the beautiful blonde hair from my dream are right in front of me. Ah, chills. She hands me the flag, smiles at me, and kind of gives me like one of those, what's up, kind of looks. And then I'm so stunned. I'm just holding the flag like, I dreamed about her last night, but I've never seen that lady in my life. And there she is, right? And I'm like, wow. And I'm holding my flag still. Probably no more than 8 to 10 seconds has gone by when I snap out of it and I look down the line of the parade. She's nowhere. And she couldn't have gotten much farther because the people that were right before her, I could still see them. I mean, not that far ahead. She was gone. She was gone. I don't know where she went. Spirit at play, and just chills. Just remembering that knowing look, like, yeah, you know what's up. Amazing. I'm just like, wow. But that led then into about 2.5. No, let's see. So that was October 1st, October 15th, going into the 16th that night. I fell asleep and spontaneous Kundalini awakening started happening. But after that whole thing with the lady at the parade and the dream the night before, like I was going down rabbit holes, learning about Blu-ray souls, learning about astrology, and I think really this is what led up to a lot of this stuff, was just being in the moment and being open to it, surrendering to what was coming for me. And then when the spontaneous Kundalini awakening started happening to me, I wasn't afraid. I was a little, I guess, my interest was definitely piqued because I was asleep. And then out of nowhere, I wake up with this like violent vibrating in my stomach area, or like lower abdomen, kind of like uterus area. I saw that. I'm like, I don't know what that means, Jimmy 007, but you got that going for you. And no, you cannot. But anyway, yeah, I was alert, but not afraid. I'll put it that way. But I was just inundated and submersed in just so much love, and just I felt held. I felt taken care of in that moment. And from there, I mean, this buzzing went on for hours. But at first, waking up out of a dead sleep, feeling this, I thought, oh, was there an earthquake? Did I leave my washer on the spin cycle? Like, what's happening? My logical mind was like trying to, okay, what could this be? What could this be? What could this be? And I was so like just paralyzed and in my body that I didn't even think to like tap my husband, like, hey, is there buzz? Like, what's happening? What's going on? Like, I didn't even include him, and he's just sleeping inches away from me, and he doesn't even know this thing is taking place. Just craziness. But yeah, it's intense. The things that were shown to me during that Kundalini awakening, and I'm even asking these beautiful, loving energies around me, I'm like, what's happening to me? And they spelled out the word Kundalini in my mind. And I had never heard that word, didn't even know how to pronounce it, but I remembered it the next morning when I finally got my wits about me and could look it up. But that whole next day, I had what they call the Ascension Flu. I was so inundated with energy that night and even into the next day that I was vomiting. I couldn't eat anything. I was in the bath for almost 4 hours that day. It was my husband's birthday, and he was kind of mad at me because we were supposed to go out to his parents that day and kind of celebrate his birthday, have cake and ice cream and, all the stuff. And that's the day I also just went vegan, like just I'm like, I can't, all day of what I went through. And then I tried to eat like a can of Campbell's chicken noodle soup. And the second that chicken went into my mouth and I'm chewing it, I could feel the pain that the chicken went through in its life, and I spit it. I like half like gagged and spit it out, and I haven't had chicken or pork or beef since that day at all. So yeah, I'm no longer vegan. I eat eggs and very occasional dairy, although dairy isn't something that just agrees with my hormones anyway. It really disrupts my hormones, so I try to just kind of keep that on the low. I mean, it tastes good, but it's bad. It's bad for me. It's bad for me. You do you. You do what you feel, but I know it's bad for me, so I try to limit that. So yes, that's where I'm at now. That's where the Kundalini. As far as the last part, how did this transition impact you? It turned everything upside down within me. My external world still looked very much the same. It's just my relationship with myself was very different. My relationship with my husband was very different because he almost for probably 6 months had 3 kids to take care of. And as a mom, I mean, I would take care of my kids' needs, obviously, but I was just like down all these rabbit holes and very otherwise present and accounted for, like researching things. And I look back and I'm like, I was not a very good mom during those times, but like I needed to like mother and nurture myself and learn about myself. That's when I really got into astrology, Vedic astrology, and just learn, who am I? What is my soul here to do? And it was very hard to do that in tandem with being a mother. I beat myself up a lot. There was a lot of crying. It was a thing. For 6 solid months, I was just becoming a new version of myself almost every other day, and just so much going on. And my husband, if he was ever going to leave me, it would have been at that point. It was hard for me to be more than just the bare minimum of in any relationship, except with those that wanted to talk about what I was going through and what I wanted to talk to them about the way the world is not what we were told it was, and history is like 100% a lie, and so many rabbit holes. But we're still present, accounted for. We made it through. But it turned everything I thought I really did go through this really long grieving process for the life I thought, or the world that I thought I was living in. When you learn probably 98% of what I thought about history, about the way the world is run, about the planet that we live on was a lie. And that's to have every truth that you thought was truth ripped right off of you like a Band-Aid just all at once is very, very intense. Yeah, it is very sad when your family doesn't know a thing about it. Very hard. It is shattering. And, I went through a good 6 to 7 months where I thought, outside of my kids, my mom was like my only friend, and I was just very hermited and didn't have a lot of deep conversations with anyone except my mom. And, I try to have deep conversations with my sister, and she's like, oh, okay, cool. But since then, now she comes to me like, what do you think about this? Oh my gosh, did you hear about that? And I'm like, oh, here's what I have to say about it. What do you think? So others have caught up a little bit, but yeah, that first 6 months after that was a lot. It was a lot. All right. So Simona wants to know, my questions are, how do you know that you've just received an intuitive message? How do you build that trust? So it wasn't until after my past life regression that I had with Alba Weinman, and it's actually on Alba Weinman. I'll even spell her name out if you guys want to see it. I know many of you that have followed me for a while here, my friends, you know about this already. Alba Weinman. She's not QHHT practitioner. She does something very similar, but she kind of has her own spin on it, which is quantum healing hypnosis technique. I'm session 151 on her channel, and my mom is session 152. If you guys ever want to go watch that. But Alba Weinman, she just connecting to my higher self in that regression really helped me learn that I need to trust myself. Yes, even now, that took place July 21st of 2017. So it's been a while since that session, but even now, there are times I doubt myself, or I think, oh no, that can't be. But I am more on it with trusting myself and listening to my guidance than ever before. And every day I feel I get a little better and a little better. And it's 1:44:44, right as I said that. A little better and a little better. So baby steps. It's all about the baby steps. And even if you have to take a couple baby steps backwards or a big leap backwards, you'll come back forward again and come back forward. It's a lot. Oh, you live with an unawakened family. They're pretty judgmental. Yeah, I was just very lucky that I didn't have to go through a lot of that. Of course, as a young person in high school, especially, I went to a lot of, what do you call it? Like youth groups and churches. I even got baptized. I was really searching for answers because I've always known that there's something greater, that I have a higher power, there is a higher power that's in control of all of this intelligent design and love that is underlying everything. But I didn't know, the God of the Old Testament felt more like the devil to me. And then I felt like a sinner for even thinking that, or, blasphemy. How dare you even think that? And, but through the whole thing, through all of that, Jesus was someone that I felt I could connect to, and that wasn't judging me and hating me and gonna damn me in a bath of hellfire if I didn't do everything right or had only pure thoughts and, all the things that, hormones as a teenager are already raging, and then you beat yourself up for having any kind of thought. It really was a lot. And, it was right after I got baptized, I actually left the churches altogether. I just went to two. There were two youth groups I really enjoyed going to, but it was more for the fellowship and just hanging out with really cool friends than learning about God or anything. It was a lot. And I still don't know. I don't have a religion. I'm just very spiritual, and I just know things to be true for myself. Doesn't mean they're true for everybody, but I just feel them to be true for me. And yeah. Oh, you got a big check with that number on it. That's amazing, Wayne. How cool. Abby, at least we have Amanda for the tribe she has brought together for us. Yes, and I am so happy about that we have a place that we can hang out and express ourselves without feeling judged about our awakening, because this is what we incarnated for, most of us, is to awaken. Not everybody's going to awaken, but many of you who have found your way here are awakening. So as far as building that trust in your own intuition, just practicing trusting it and just seeing what happens, because I'm sure most of you can attribute those really strong gut instincts when you did go against that, how you almost beat yourself up later for not listening. So listen, I guess, just listen and trust and know that you're doing what's best for yourself, even if it ends in a flop somehow, some way. You're doing what's best for yourself. All right, we're working our way through the questions. We've got a couple more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 more questions, and then we'll be rounding out to draw for our giveaway. So if you haven't joined the Patreon already and want to be included in the giveaway, you can always do that now. We still have time for that. And to be entered in the giveaway, the only thing you have to do is to become a patron on any of the 3 tiers over on my Patreon, linked up in the little pinned comment thingy, or in my description, there's a link to my Patreon. I will also double check we haven't gotten more patrons since it's been a minute, and then we'll get into the next couple of questions and do our drawing. Okay. I don't know why the internet's being very slow over here. Nope, Tracy was still our last one. How cool. Okay. There we go. We're back to the chat. So, Trina Moitra says, "You look lovely and are one of my favorite readers." Well, thank you. I am here to tell you that the universe loves you and that 20K is just the beginning. You work really hard on your videos. You keep things upbeat. Thanks again. That's amazing. Thank you. Lots of blessings to you, and lots of blessings to you too, Trina. I have a question. How do you use multiple decks in a reading to tell a cohesive story? That's not something I've really sat down and thought about. I just kind of intuitively reach for whatever feels great, or sometimes I'm like, okay, Spirit, you decide. But usually even what I need to film that day, like what kind of pick a card or whatever, I just leave that open to Spirit, or it's just kind of a knowing. A lot of times if you watch my regular reading live streams over on my other channel, you'll notice sometimes I'm talking and whatever, I'll just reach for a deck, not even thinking, and then I'm like, oh, I guess we're using this one, Spirit selected. I do that a lot. So yeah, I just kind of let my subconscious and spirit work in tandem to just select what needs to be selected for that. And then as far as telling a story, I mean, I don't know. To me, it's just kind of second nature. Let's just do a little example of that. Let's get a tarot card from Modern Witch Tarot, and then we'll just grab a random, we'll use that crystal deck because I just randomly reached for it. And we'll try to tell a story or connect the two cards in some way. I feel the card I want. Here it is. Okay. Wow, so we have the Ace of Cups. There's a lot that can be said about this card, but let's get our Oracle card and then we'll try to tell a story with the two. Maybe we'll get two Oracle cards because sometimes it's easy to tell a story between two things, not as easy between three. So we'll grab two Oracles. We'll just use this as an example here. So we got one, turquoise, prioritize your health. We also have here red jasper, take action. Wow. So this is, to me, with the prioritize your health and take action, this is about finding balance because to me, prioritizing your health is all about self-care, slowing down a little bit. So it's almost kind of warring energies here. Take action, but yet make sure you're taking care of your health. But we put the love right in the middle of this. This to me feels like not sacrificing your health or who you are on a beautiful soul level for that new love interest or for that emotional fulfillment. Because I think you taking action on your dreams and prioritizing your health will bring the emotional fulfillment you're looking for, whether that's with a significant other, a potential crush, or just with your own self-love, because you could also attribute to this as a self-love card. So that's, I guess, kind of how I tell a story between three. It's not really something I think about. I just do it. I don't know. I don't know that I actually answered the question there, Trina, but I tried. And I appreciate your question and all of your kind words. That was nice. Thank you. Put this away. All right. I'm still trying to also keep in tune with the chat here as well. All right. Okay, so I'm probably have to go back and read all your comments later. Don't like when people try to erase or hide the shadow and throw light around only. Yeah. And that's definitely something that I focus on, is balancing that out, because the shadow can't be seen without the light, but the light can't be all there is because the shadow is still there. So we need to, and I love, if Monica's still here, Monica just did a video on, she had an amazing analogy with Peter Pan in her, you'll just have to watch it, about the shadow. Oh, it was, chef's kiss, great video that she just posted on that, and I'm proud of you. That was an amazing way to put all that. But shadow work is just as important, if not more important, than really working on those high vibe and spiritual, elevations that we're all wanting to reach the pinnacle of. Shadow work is so important. Healing from past traumas is so important. But also, it's important not to get lost in that or try to do all of that at one time, because that can lead to breakdown. That can lead to, that 6 to 7 months that I had to go through after that Kundalini awakening was one great big dark night of the soul. But there were some highlights in there as well. But for the most part, it's about balancing the shadow and the light. Not forgetting the shadow, but not forgetting the light either. Just balancing that nicely. Okay, so Tracy Baby says, my question are, how do you get started on your path? How did you get started on your path? Were you always intuitive? What other forms of meditation do you practice? So as far as how I got started on my path, I think we've kind of touched on a lot of that through the various other questions I've answered. I was always intuitive, but again, kind of shut it down for a while. Even when I did shut it down, I still would consider myself very intuitive at the time. I was still messing with my tarot cards and really trying to, I didn't even put it together that weird part of myself, that colorful part of myself on the inside, and that part of myself that could sense those darker things in life, but also the higher things in life. I didn't really put two and two together that they were tied to my gift of reading cards or my gift of reading other people or my empathic abilities. I just didn't put it together that they are two sides of the same coin, dark and light, two sides of the same coin. I didn't put it together. So yes, I was always intuitive, but kind of tried to deny it a lot of my life. But I'm back in action. What other forms of meditation do I practice? Sometimes the best form of meditation for me is just turning off everything, turning off the phone, closing the computer, and just being. And sometimes I will throw myself into household chores and not have anything that's, because a lot of times I would like to watch podcasts or listen to podcasts and then, put on maybe YouTube channels that I can more just listen to rather than actually have to watch. And I would kind of kill two birds with one stone. Like I'd have a long to watch list on YouTube and yet a long laundry list of things to do around the home. So I kind of multitask and do both at the same time. But I actually find when I just turn everything off, tune everything else out, and just really focus on the task at hand, that to me is a form of meditation, especially when I'm doing artistic things. My one, I guess, caveat with that would be sometimes I do listen to music that really helps me tune in even deeper. So music sometimes, but there are times though when I don't want any music either. I just want it silent and just whatever daily noises are going on around the home are what's kind of the soundtrack to my meditative working through whatever it is I'm doing. But also just getting out in nature, kind of like a walking meditation, just being very present. To me, being in the present moment is a form of meditation, because you're just in meditation, you're usually focused on your breath, or if it's a guided meditation, you're very hyper-focused on whatever the person is guiding you to do in the meditation. And to me, just being in the present moment is being mindful. It is being meditative. I don't know. So there's a lot of ways one can be meditative without sitting down and and I, for one, I'm a type of person, I can't sit up without my back leaning against something and meditate. I can't. I do really well meditating laying down in the bathtub or laying down in my bed, all comfy, cozy, because the second I get cold or the breeze blows my hair or something, I kind of get distracted. So if I'm comfy, cozy, and laying down, that's when I can tune in the best. Or if I'm in the bath with all my crystals around me, it usually involves crystals. Meditation involves crystals. Sometimes just staring at crystals. Like here, we've got a labradorite. Man, I can't get the flash. We were talking about labradorite in my writing group yesterday. So yeah, there's that beautiful flash that we were looking for. But sometimes just running your hands and finger along the cracks and really looking at it almost as like a map of the world, and just getting lost in looking at a crystal sometimes is a favorite hobby of mine. Just looking at all the little idiosyncrasies in each little crystal I have, because they're all so unique and different. Even if, let's say for example here, 2 Lemurian quartzes. These are my probably most alike looking Lemurian quartzes, because they both kind of have a weird depression that kind of goes up. Not depression like, oh, I'm sad, but indentations, kind of geometric indentations there. But like this one, you can look in there and see all those inclusions, and you can just get lost and just really meditate on that. But, I will sometimes even just with these Lemurian quartzes, see those kind of barcode stepladder thingies on there. Can I get the flash? There we go. Yeah, but just kind of run your finger up and down on that is very meditative. Yes, Secrets from Lemuria written in the crystals. And they were found just like this. It's not like they found them all hanging out of a cave wall and then the miners came in and cracked them out. They were found buried in the sand just like this, sometimes in piles, sometimes all on their own. And it's said that those in past lives in Lemuria, could be us, left these for ourselves to find at a later time. And uncovering these out of the sand just like this, I mean, you can tell they were placed there by somebody, right? They couldn't have just landed there. How'd they get there? The Lemurians put them there and encoded them. And these Lemurian seed crystals, a lot of crystals you can program to do certain things. These crystals you don't even program. You activate just by using your intention or running your hand along the barcodes there, the ladders. That activates these crystals. And I have a feeling, at least with three of the 6 Lemurian quartzes that I now have, that I actually held those in a past life. I have past life connection to 3 of my 6 Lemurian crystals. Not to say the other 3 aren't powerful and magical and I don't love them, I do, but there are 3 that I'm like, wow, good to see you again, old friend. It's a hard thing to put into words or even fathom, but yes, so interesting. I love crystals, if you hadn't known already. All right, next question. We've got here, I'm going to hopefully not butcher this. Maharima. That's how you say it. Maharima. I'd like to know the story of how you got started. I think we already covered that pretty much. Did you question your sanity? Multiple times. So much so that I wanted to learn my astrological chart to prove, okay, maybe this can prove I'm crazy because of this conjunction or this alignment. And interestingly enough, I do have an alignment, a conjunction with my moon and North Node or moon and Rahu, which sometimes can lead to mental illness or mental disorders, or it can lean more towards spiritual and psychic abilities. And at first when I learned, oh, this could prove that you're bipolar or schizophrenic or, all these clinical labels that are put on things, it scared me at first. But then I realized, that's not really it for me anyway. So yeah, let's see. Story of how I got started. I'm wondering if you mean like on YouTube. I knew for probably 4 or 5 years, basically from the moment after my Kundalini awakening, I knew I needed to get on YouTube and start helping others who are awakening, because I was lucky to have a few resources at the time. There was Infinite Waters, who is Ralph Smart on YouTube, Bridget Nielsen on YouTube, Victor Odo on YouTube, Nikki Sutton on YouTube. I think she's just Spiritual Channel or something like that. I always forget, but those were like my helpers. Like without their YouTube channels, I'd have been so lost. And there was one called The Event is Coming Soon, which was long deleted because speaking way too much truth over there, that channel just brought something alive within me. So YouTube really helped me through my awakening, and I knew I wanted to help give back somehow, some way on YouTube. I just wasn't sure what it was, and it came after I did yet another reading for a friend, and she's like, you should do this like online, or like get paid, people pay you to do this. And I'm like, oh, I could never. Although I did have a very short stint after high school. I did work as a phone hotline psychic for a very short stint, but I'm just too introverted. I didn't like being on the phone with people I couldn't interact with, which, I can interact with you guys. I mean, you can interact with someone on a phone, and I have come to own that part of myself that I can do it now. But at the time, I just didn't resonate with being in that way. I wanted to be in person or not at all. But yeah, I just, where was I going? I was going somewhere with the story. I don't know. I was leading up to something, and then it just went. Although 2 hours, 3 minutes, and 3 seconds in, that's the first time I lost my train of thought. So go me. Happens more often than that in real life. So let's just put that out there. But yeah. Oh, it was about talking on the phone and connecting. How I got started. And it scared me to death. Being on YouTube and, maybe having negative comments or people attacking me because I was a YouTuber before this, actually, for The Sims 3. When The Sims 3 came out back in 2009, I started a YouTube channel talking about The Sims 3 and all of that. And holy goodness, were there a lot of perverts and sick people just asking the most inappropriate things and calling me names and telling me I was dumb, and I mean, just all the horrible things. And I'm like, I will never do this again, ever. I don't care, ever. But the day after that awakening, I'm like, I need to get back out there. It still took me another 3 years to finally listen and get back out there, but I did it. So better late than never. If you listening now have thought about putting yourself out there in some way on YouTube or on social media, the time's gonna pass. The time will pass anyway, so you might as well start now. And you don't have to be 100% self-actualized and enlightened or have it all figured out to do it. Just put yourself out there. Even if you stumble over your words, get started. Because if you watch my very first pick a card on this channel, and then say one of my more recent pick a cards, you can see a night and day difference in how I present myself, in my confidence, in even the speed of my words. They just come much faster. Before, I was pretty much talking more like this speed. Now I'm all over the place. I'm up here. I'm all over. Yeah, I did uncover she was a witch in a lifetime. Was killed as a 12-year-old boy because of it. Yep. Yeah. I love that you guys are having your own conversations. That's amazing. I love it. All right. So that answered some of that question, but not all of it. So I wonder, okay, did you question your sanity? Because sometimes I wonder if I'm delusional, but then I take note everything else about me is completely normal and I'm usually right, but I still question. Yes, and I think that's just a big part of the waking up process is you will question everything. You'll question your own sanity. You'll question other people's sanity. You'll question the world you live in multiple times a day, inside out and backwards. You will question so much. And that's half of getting started, starting to question things that you maybe didn't question before. So, and another thing I learned along the way, crazy or delusional people, never once does it cross their mind that they are crazy or delusional. So the fact that you're questioning, am I crazy? Am I delusional? Lets you know you most likely are not. Yeah, and even crazy or delusional people, I mean, that's a big theme in my book series that I'm writing. A lot of these people are tuned into something that they can't see or know what it is. But, you know, the system has to put a label, put everything in a box, and slap that stamp of a label on it. So we call these people schizophrenic, bipolar, borderline personality. You know, we have all these labels for things. And it's usually that these people are not adjusted to the systems that are in place. So it's very hard for them to fit in. Or they hear things beyond the, you know, 5 to 6 senses we have, right? And you know, we gotta label them something. So okay, you're crazy. Okay, you're schizophrenic, delusional, whatever. When really, these are just words. These are just labels. This is not the truth of what's actually going on here. But yeah, the fact that you're questioning though lets me know you're probably on a very healthy spiritual journey. Maharima, I cannot say that. I apologize for butchering your name. Also, were your messages or stories so smooth and fluent when you first started? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because my ego was way too involved in thinking, no, there's no way. Like at first, when Kurt Cobain started coming to me it's not like he left. So me saying him coming to me every day, he did not leave for months and months and months, if not closer to 2 years. He was there constantly. And, you know, as far as the messages I was getting from him, it would take me sometimes 2 weeks to figure out what he was trying to say to me, what he was showing me, what he was telling me. Now it's like smooth as day with Kurt. Certain other energies that I'm starting to get used to, I'm not starting over from scratch because I kind of have a baseline in place now or a foundation to what I'm doing. But those of you who come to my pick a card readings, or more specifically my live streams, you realize the more I get to know your energy, the quicker I can connect, and even your crossover loved ones will start coming in, and you know, your past life questions you have, I can tune in even quicker than someone whose energy is very new to me, where I kind of have to feel it out. It's almost like I'm in the dark with the blindfold on or something, kind of feeling my way through a room. Eventually I get there, but sometimes it takes longer than those I'm more attuned to, and then I'm like, okay, this is what they mean, this is what your thing is, your message is. So yeah. Yeah. What else? What do you do to protect yourself from negativity? So that's been a major learning curve for me. I use a lot of grounding crystals or just intentions, putting my intentions, cleansing myself, clearing my home, my energy, clearing other people's energy when I have permission to do so. You could smudge with all sorts of herbs, Palo Santo, sage, cedar. These are all ways you can protect yourself from negativity. And yeah, did I ever experience any negativity and need of protection? Yes, especially when I came at my gifts or just who I am from that place of fear. It like amplified the amount of negativity I would seek, or would seek me more specifically. I have a video actually of me and a couple friends. My best friend John was there, where we were out filming the intro for my old TV show that I used to have here on the local community access channel. Before YouTube was a thing, I had a TV show on the local TV show here, TV station. And we called ourselves F-Row. But anyway, we were filming the intro for that video. This was back in 2003. And we were out in the woods in the dark with the night vision cam filming our little dance number. And I sensed there was a very malevolent spirit out in the woods, and my friend's like, well, let's go find it, let's go see what it is. And I'm like, I'm kind of apprehensively going, and then I came to a point where I'm like, I'm not doing this, I can't do this, because my fear was so high. It just amplified the amount of terror that I was feeling in the moment. And now I'm sure if I was in that same scenario and I sensed this, I would probably do everything I do to clear it and help send it to the light, and I would have been just fine. Almost without like a blip on the radar. I wouldn't have had to verbalize anything. Everyone would have just thought I'm still here participating in the dance number, doing what I do. Because my paradigm has shifted so much that I come at things from a place of love. And anytime I do try to connect, like before live streams or filming pick-a-cards, or even doing my daily pick-a-card, I kind of have a little keyword that I just want to do quick that lets spirit know, hey, I'm protected, I'm in my bubble. Anything that through that's of a lower vibration needs to go through Archangel Michael and then get to me that way, because Archangel Michael and my guides and angels kind of do form a protective barrier around me now anyway. But before my live streams and other readings that I do for people, I will go into full-on meditation, usually about 15 minutes, and really go through all of my processes to get myself locked and loaded with protection. I don't usually, if ever, feel I need it, because there are times, like actually at my 21-year high school reunion that happened in July, what happened was a couple people wanted a reading. So I was doing a reading, and I was in a bar of all the low vibrational places for these entities to be, which there were many around, but I don't drink, so they weren't attached to me or really interested in my energy so much, just more just curious about what I was doing. And I didn't even call in my protection team, and I didn't have any problem. So really, it's about your own comfort level and just whatever you feel. And some days I feel like I want to do the whole protection thing. Other days I forget completely, and other days I just kind of say my little keyword that represents my full deep connection, and that's that. And the word I use is jelly bean, if anyone's interested. I just close my eyes and say, okay, jelly bean, and then we're off to the races. Great question. I love that. All right, Monica Simar, tell us about your spiritual journey, how you go through each phase. A big congrats to your success. Thank you so much. Wow, I think we really went through a lot of my spiritual journey. We didn't hit like the full, like unabridged version or anything like that, but I don't even know if I can go through each phase, because there are times that I feel I really reach this high point, and then I kind of go back down, and it just, the longer I am on the spiritual journey, it just to me feels like it's just normal now. Like it's just a normal part of me and who I am and my day and what I do, that it doesn't even feel special anymore. And I guess when you get to that point, when something really miraculous happens, it can then bring it up a notch. But even just 20, 30, 40 synchronicities in a day, it's just normal to me now. Not to say that I take it for granted. I don't think I do. But there are days where it's just, it's just part of the course. This is just a normal thing for me now to see all these repetitive numbers and to, hear multiple things like synchronicities and all this. So in the recent live stream, before I have feared the idea of being with a guy, then suddenly want to transition. Yeah. Right. But the more you can really work through that fear, that'll help you. Intuitively, Christian won't. Yeah, absolutely. Abby says, Amanda, do you know anything about your connection as a Syrian starseed? If I am correct, yeah. Have you any experiences with your star family? Yes, many. And it's mostly my Lyran connection family that I feel most connected to, because many of my Syrian family members are also the Lyran family members, because many of us that are here in the chat, Lunar, I know, Lori, Ethan, many starseeds here. So what I see though is many of us are cosmic nuts. We've been to Andromeda, we've been to Orion, we've been to the Pleiades, we've been everywhere. That song, I've been everywhere, man, I've been everywhere. Um, yeah, and it's mostly it's like it's going as close to the source as I can, because my very first incarnation I can reach, at least in this human body, and the connection that I currently have is the Lyra star family, which is said to be the more ancient of all the star families. So, and many of my Sirian, Lyran, Orion, Pleiadian, and all the other places I've been, a lot, not all, but a lot of these people are actually incarnated around the globe right now, and I'm meeting them. So that's amazing that we can connect this way as well. Yeah, awesome, Monica. Monica. Oh, yes, Lunar's the friend at Czar. She's the one I was telling you about, that I think you might be the third sister that we felt like in that life when we were having to leave Lyra. I'm getting chills. Yes. Remember that, Czar? We really tuned into that life, and there was a third sister with us. It was me and you as sisters, and then a third sister. I really do think Monica is that third sister. Lyra girls. Yes. Amazing. I love it. Yeah, I have major children. Let's see. Oh, Solar Siren 209 says I have a few people in my life that I have such a strong connection with. I feel like we knew each other in a past life. Do you think our souls will find each other? I think so, absolutely. And our souls, me and you, Jess, are those people as well, because you came into my life at age 8. You were 8, I was 12. And yeah, we go way back, not just in this life, but multiple others. Star family. Jessa has major connections to Sirius. She was a mermaid in so many lives. She's probably even a mermaid in this life for all we know. Am I right, Jess? I love it. Yes. Lunar, you'll have to check out Monica's channel. It's in my community tab. I shared her video the other day. If you can't, because it used to be, I know when we used to do the write-ins with Brooke and Natalia and Mandy Lynn and all them, you could select with the 3 little dots on someone's name and then go to their profile, but YouTube took that away. So you would have to type in Monica Anderson, the Kismet Chemist, to go find her. But yeah, go check her stuff out. She's so intuitive and amazing. Yeah, and John actually sent her to me, gave me the name Monica on that Ghost app the day before I met her, and everything just lined up. It was just destined. It was all destined. Oh man, I would have to tell you that whole long story. It was amazing. You need to look into that, Jessa, absolutely. But I can feel that Lyra with you as well. So yeah, for sure. Hello, Brooklyn Queen, YouTube. Or YT, YouTube, YT. Sirius was exactly aligned to my Mercury in Cancer in my natal chart. That's awesome. Yeah, Sirius really plays between my North Node and my Moon, for sure. And then my I always forget it. I always forget the name. Arcturus is exactly conjunct my my ascendant. I'm in Chitra. My ascendant is right on Chitra, which is the star of, I always forget. But it's the star of fortune, I think. Yeah, bright lights and fortune. All right, so you had a vision a year back of me as a child opening a door to my room, and a brown feline being was standing there in a green uniform. I don't know if it's a genuine Akashic record memory I had access that was suppressed, but it's interesting nonetheless. That's amazing. I really do a lot of times ascribe the color green with the Lyrans. I mean, for many years, green was my favorite color, but of course, the oranges and the reds and the yellows are very Lyra colors as well, but I always put hand in hand like a golden color and a green color when I think of Lyra. That could just be my synesthesia coming into play with it, but yeah. We have just a few more questions, which we'll get to, and then we're going to do the drawing. I will first check the Patreon update, just to make sure we didn't have any new patrons that are going to be in the drawing to win 3 readings, 3 10-minute, which usually equal more close to 20-minute readings on Zoom. So if you have not become a patron yet and you want to, the only thing you have to do to be entered into the drawing, there's 3 chances to win and only 9 names in the pot so far. So you have like a 1 in 3 chance to win, I think at this point, very high chance to win. A free, basically 20-minute reading with me on Zoom. And the only thing you have to do is become a patron of any tier. It doesn't matter. Low, middle, or high, it doesn't matter. Okay. April Chronister says, I feel you have a book in you. What a blessing it would be to hear or to read your experiences and some tips you may have to share of intuition and its presence in day-to-day life. Excuse me if you have a book already. I am a newbie here. You are a bright heart. Thank you so much, April. I appreciate that. But yes, I do have a book in me, or 6 at least, and then ideas for others that are currently TBD when they will be, I guess, published. But I have finally decided I'm self-publishing because I'm just speaking too many truth bombs and just the censorship in not just the mainstream, but like the publishing, the big publishing companies are all mainstream. So there's no way this message would be allowed through mainstream. I don't know why I even thought I would try to entertain the thought of doing a traditional publishing contract. Figured it out. I'm self-publishing, and now I just need to get back on that writing horse and do the thing. So yes, TBD when this is going to actually be, but it will be in my lifetime, God willing. Thank you for your question and your comments. Wonderful, kind words, April. Amira Kamel says, advice for more spiritual evolution and increased intuitive abilities. The green color is amazing and fits your beauty. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Advice for spiritual evolution would just be to follow your heart. Really let your heart ask for guidance from your guides and angels to illuminate the next step for you. Even if the next step feels scary and precarious and completely different to what you've been doing, allow it to happen. Because the best thing you can do is just be present in the moment as well. Mindfulness, being present, these are all ways you can really get in tune with your intuitive abilities. And again, everybody's different, and even every instance within one person can be different for ways you dive into that intuition, which we've kind of touched on already. It's hard to give people like a step-by-step way of becoming more intuitive. It's something you really just have to practice. I call it the intuitive muscle over on my intuition tests and exercises. It's like any exercise. You keep doing it, you keep practicing it, and then that muscle builds on itself, right? Oh, awesome, Susan. Thank you so much. So we've got more patrons than I'm saying. I thought we only had 9. But we're going to answer, there's 2 more questions. We're really cooking now. 2 more questions, and then we're going to go head over to Patreon and get ready for the giveaway. So if you want to join over on Patreon, now's your kind of last chance to do that. Not to join, but to be included in the giveaway we're doing here. Because I've been live 2 hours, 22 minutes, and 44 seconds, right as I said that. So I think I've given enough time for everybody that wants to be in the drawing giveaway to be in the drawing/giveaway. You got 3 chances to win. Okay, Trinity Braveheart wants to know, what moment did your calling really expose itself to you? I think it still is. That's how I'm going to answer that one. I think it still is. I think I've got a really good handle on my purpose and my sense of direction and what I'm here to do and what I need to do. Just being open and surrendering to what Spirit's next steps are for me is my key to unlock whatever's ahead for me. And I'm just trying to really enjoy every step of the way. For a while there, it was just YouTube. Now it's going to be YouTube in partnership with Patreon, and eventually, hopefully, with my books that are going to be coming out, hopefully before 20 years from now. Just baby steps, though. Taking baby steps, not feeling like you have to accomplish everything overnight. That is my key. And it's been written in my birth chart, at least, that I would find my success later in life, which means after age 36, because Saturn in your birth chart will completely start to mature between age 36 and 42. And after 42, you are good to go with your maturity of your Saturn, and that karma and that hard work you put in wherever Saturn is in your chart, it's really going to start paying off for you, especially in that house that Saturn sits. And any planets that are conjunct Saturn, aspecting Saturn, or Saturn aspecting them, and the houses that Saturn rules in your chart will really start reaping rewards for you. For me, Saturn is in the 12th house conjunct Mars. I've always had one foot on the gas, one foot on the brake. But after age 42 for me, which is still about 2.5 years away, I'm counting down the days. I will still kind of have a start, stop with everything I do. But once I hit age 42 and beyond, it's no stopping me. I will have not only the hard work and dedication with that Saturn, but I will have the action and the desire and drive to take it the distance with my Mars. So I'm actually looking forward to that because it's been quite the uphill battle these first 39 years of my life. But I am going to be patient. I can be patient. But that's actually a conjunction I have in my 12th house, which is the house of loss. So, you know, it's been hard for me, even your connection beyond this realm. It's been very hard for me to fully embrace that for the first 39 years of my life. But after age 42, I will be really immersed in that and really reaping the rewards of all the hard work I've put in and the false starts with everything that I've had with my intuition, with, you know, my career, my journey. And Saturn also rules my 4th and 5th house. So those will unlock some beautiful rewards and prizes for me, hopefully, in the future as well. So yeah. And let's see. Oh, Wayne is in the 2nd Saturn return right now. You know, I actually had a harder go of my life the 2 years after my Saturn return was complete than I did during the Saturn return. And even the 2 years before the Saturn return, I don't know what it was. I don't know why. But that's how I experienced the Saturn return. Maybe because my Saturn is in the 12th house, so I'm already just really used to losing everything that means anything to me. An interesting fact, the loss of Mars represents brothers. Mars represents also male friends. And at a very young age, I did lose a brother that was kind of a hidden brother that I didn't know about. And most people in my life still don't know about it. But, you know, I'm done hiding. I'm done hiding the truth of things. And I also have lost almost every very close male friend of mine to death. That's just part of the karma I'm here to learn and grow from. My twin flame / best friend John was one of those that I lost. And it's been quite a learning curve for me to learn that the loss, it's just that energy has been transformed from a human body to something beyond that. I'm getting chills now. John's here. Yay. I knew he'd come. I knew he'd come in. He's been my cheerleader through all of this. And I've been so excited to just develop the relationship that we have as the twin flame journey, him on the other side and me here. It's quite a thing. It's quite a thing. But anyway, last question. I might give you guys a moment. I don't think my family's home yet, so I might give you guys a moment to ask any further questions that you guys have for me, I guess, personal or spiritual or whatever, anything in between. I don't have to answer it, but you can sure ask it. All right, so Lynn Lily 21 says, how come my intuition doesn't work well on cards? Okay, that could just be that you're not a very visual, intuitive person. Maybe your intuition is more on feeling or on hearing, on thought, you know. So I'm going to say maybe clairvoyance isn't your strongest spiritual gift, Lynn Lily. Gift. Should put the T on the end of that. It's not a moving picture. Gift. Oh, Amanda, that's wonderful. You are going to be so happy, successful, and blessed because you are a genuine person, 100%. Thank you so much. I really hope so. I am counting on it. I'm not just hopeful. I'm counting on it. Spirit, even if I die tomorrow, I'm perfect. I'm great with that because that's exactly what I need to know and do and experience. So yes, once you understand the lesson and integrate it, the karma is released. Oh, wow. Well, I hope that's the truth because I haven't lost any friends in that capacity, like really close soul connected friends since 2016. And it's always the male friends. Always the male friends. I think it's just because that Mars in the 3rd house. So, yeah. All right, you guys, go ahead and ask me any questions you have. We'll probably do a few minutes of that. And then we're going to get into the giveaway. While you guys get your questions up there, I'm going to go ahead and go over to Patreon and see if we've got some action over here, which I'm sure we do. I'm going to just make sure I didn't miss anybody. That's what my main directive is over here. Okay. So we've got Barbara. Thank you so much, Barbara. And then we also have Susan. Thank you so much, Barbara. Sorry, guys, I talk so much, I get all this phlegmy, yucky buildup. I'm going to swallow it down. Ew. I know TMI, I know, right? Okay, so we've got Barbara folding her up, going in the box. And then we've got Susan. Susan. Oops, I pulled off too many. But we've got Susan. Susan. Folding her up. Into the box she goes. Okay. So I will check one more time. Oh, sorry, the lid on this catches and it's very loud. I will check one more time before we get into the giveaway after this little Q&A with you guys that are present. Let me get back to my webcam area. Here we are. Okay. Monica's been studying karma, shadow, past life regression. It is one of my strongest intuitive gifts. That's amazing. Amazing. Spirit told me to tell you. Well, I'm glad they did, because that is, I've kind of felt that without really consciously feeling that. But like, now that it's out there, I really do feel that. Like, a big old door of that past has been closed, and I'm just ready to develop things further in the future in a new way. I'm excited about it. Oh, you posted a question above when you pinged me. I'm not sure if you asked before. Oh, let me go find that. How do we deal with our fears and release them without necessarily attaching to them? I'm working on how to do that. That's the tricky part. Thank you so much, Ricky. You are in our drawing for becoming a patron, so don't leave. I will probably, oh, sorry. Every time I close that, it just cracks. Everybody who's become a patron either before the live stream or during, not quite after, because we're going to do it before we leave here, you're going to be entered in a drawing to win a 10-minute reading with me on Zoom, which those 10-minute readings usually become 20-minute readings. I have yet to complete a 10-minute reading in under 20 minutes. Ask anyone who has booked a 10-minute reading with me. That's just how it goes. And even the hour-long readings usually go on for an hour and a half, because when Spirit's delivering, oh, something happened over here. Someone moved over here and I heard some noise. We've got Spirit in the house. Thank you so much. But yes, you don't have to hold on here. I will still draw the name and then leave a comment. Hopefully, though, if you're the winner, I will leave my email in the comment. Just email me at amanda@donephotodesign.com. That's how you will be able to redeem your win. Okay, so as far as, facing these fears without attaching to them, it's really hard. It's a fine line. It's a tightrope, and you're going to get better at it with age, Ethan. So just feel or know, just know that anything that you're meant to experience, you will experience. Just put that out there and know that. So if things get rough, realize it's for a reason. You're experiencing these things for your soul's growth. If things get better, again, experiencing good things for your soul's growth as well. There's just a lot. I mean, it's a hot topic. It's something we could really just do a whole show on, I'm sure. How to face your fears, how to face your shadow without attaching to actually surrendering to that. It's a very fine line. It's very difficult to even put into words, because probably up till about age 37, I'm still walking that tightrope. We should. Monica, that will be one of our topics on our Patreon collaboration. I will let you kind of figure out the odds and ends of what all we should dive into on that, because that's kind of your forte, Monica. So I will just, I guess, leave that for another day. But yeah, it's a very convoluted and involved question to answer, I think, in more than just a few sentences for you, Ethan. And I don't want to rob you of knowing more about it. You know what I mean? So just use your intuition, Ethan. If you feel you need to feel the devastation of whatever diving into that shadow would feel like, allow yourself to feel it, but then temper that with something positive for yourself. Taking care of yourself, treating yourself to something, try to balance it. And I don't think you just sitting there, I mean, if it's day after day after day after week of you just stressing and focusing and worrying about manifesting something into fruition, yes, probably then it will. But if you just take a day to really feel what it would feel like for your deepest fears to be realized and then move through it, feel it to heal it to deal with it, right? I think you can move through it. But again, it might be something that you feel like, okay, I moved through it. Awesome. And then 3 months later, it comes back. That's just an indication you got some of it, but maybe there's roots that kind of were left that are starting to grow little shoots back up. The more you work on it without getting lost in it, let's put that fine line. Again, fine line. The more you work on something without getting completely lost in it, when it does come back around, it hurts a little less, and then it hurts a little less, and then it hurts a little less. Healing, grief, facing fears, all of this, it's like peeling away layers of an onion. So it's always gonna, and there are certain things in my life specifically, using my friend John as an example, I don't think I will ever get over the fact that things didn't go the way that my ego wanted them to go, but my soul and my heart are okay with the fact that we will never have that whatever projected friendship that I thought we would always have, but instead we have something better. It's actually better. The fact that he's beyond the veil, operating in his relationship with me without his ego involved, but yet still working together to overcome traumas from our past, our connection together, even past life stuff that I've tapped into, and he's probably working on the other side. Just a lot. There's just a lot involved. So take it one day at a time, and don't beat yourself up if you can't overcome these fears, because they're there for a reason. So just trying to face them as much as you can, and that's going to help. Yeah, Monica's good with the messages. So is Lunar. They know what to say. They have beautiful words at the right time. I love it. All right, so let me just make sure I didn't miss anyone else's questions. How do we learn how to trust our intuition and not just words in our heads? Again, that's another question like what Ethan had that's very difficult. I learned in that past life regression I had with Alba Weinman that I need to trust myself. But saying you need to trust yourself and actually trusting yourself are two very different things. And I'm still feeling my way through it. But every day I feel through it, I get closer to full trust, and then closer to full trust, and closer to full trust. So it's a process, like anything else. Practicing trusting your intuition on little things that don't really matter, to build your sea legs with it, so to speak, might help you. And then you can really lean on it when it really matters. You'll just know. Again, it's a knowing. It's so hard to answer these very deep questions in like a sentence or two. So I'm sure I'm gravely disappointing everybody. All right. And thanks again, Ricky. I appreciate that. Yeah, don't think you're going to manifest them. If you're actively working on them as shadow points, just, call on your guides and angels to help you work on them without actualizing them in your life, which I think you're going to be able to do just fine. Because I being the one who loses all my close male friends to death, was sitting, this is a crazy story for probably another time, but I'll just go into it right now. I was sitting at my friend Luke's funeral, holding John's hand, and I got this flash of me being at John's funeral. And I knew in that moment I would be without him at some point in the future. He would die, and I got chills. He's holding me right now. But I mean, the tears I was crying at Luke's funeral were mostly for the loss of John, who was right with me in those moments. And, oh God, I'm just, the tears, the feelings, it's, loss. Loss isn't real loss. It's just a transfer of energy to something else, something that might be a little harder to grasp at times. But the more we work on ourselves, the deeper we can make these connections to those we've lost, right? But yeah, I just had this, I don't think I manifested it because it was a thought. It was more of a deep knowing. And it was yet at the same time a very deep-seated fear. But yet at the same time, I knew this fear was there because it was meant to manifest in my life and I wanted to avoid it, but I knew there was no way I could. And the way I found out actually that John had cancer was I was at my grandma's house, and she always would have the most recent few, I guess, issues or whatever of the newspaper. And I saw John getting hooked up to a chemo machine on the front page about the new cancer center, cancer patient John Navarro. And I was just like, wait, what? Hold the phone. Oh man, it was a whole thing. Our relationship actually, before he passed away, I wasn't allowed to talk to him the 10 years before he died. So I didn't get my in-person closure with him like most other people in his life. And I'm sure he didn't get that closure with me. He's told me since that if he could have done anything, he would have just shut his mouth, found out a way to get in contact with me, even if his wife wasn't approving of our friendship, and let me know what he felt and that he was dying and that he loved me and, all the things. He told me later on after he crossed. He told me. And so I kind of did get that closure moment in a roundabout way. And I meet up with him. We have visitations and dreams all the time, and even in person, like just now. But when I connect to him the most is in my dream state. And I have visitation dreams from him at least once a month, sometimes closer to once every 2 weeks. And I feel every time there is a visitation, it's like I'm able to close out old chapters much easier. But then I wake up the next day and I just want to hug him. I just want to talk to him with words and hear his hilarious voice and all his jokes. And the way he communicates with me now is still very funny and jokey and like clever. But like it's not the same as just being able to wrap your arms around someone and just immerse yourself in their vibe, right? But yet it is the same, but yet different. It's a whole weird ball of wax. It's just weird. So I don't think you're going to manifest those things, because for me, it was a deep knowing that, okay, this is going to happen in my future and I better get prepared for it. But yet my ego mind was like, it won't happen. There's no way. But like deep down, I knew it. I knew I was going to lose him to death. Lose, right? There's no such thing. But yes, I knew it. I just knew it. All right. Let me see if I didn't miss any other questions you guys have. Question. If you want to share fascinating past life memories you have, just for fun, so you can have a break from the hobby question. Oh, you're sweet. Okay. Wow. This one's a big one. This was one that Lori, if you're listening, ding, ding, ding. This really led me to trust myself. Okay. Get ready for story time. This is going to be a 10-minute plus story if you're buckled up and ready for this. Okay. So I'm holding my lovely amethyst in my bath, ready to do a little meditation just to wind down for the evening. Nothing special, nothing fancy, just me showing up for some meditation. And I'm getting chills already. Anyway, this is deep, this is big, this is huge. And this is one of those past lives that I've been wanting to tell you on one of our 6-hour Zoom meetings of our writing meetings but never did because I knew it'd just go down a rabbit hole. But here's the rabbit hole. Let's just put it out there for the whole internet, or all 21 of you watching right now. Anyway, so I'm going into this meditation, and it's this bubble that takes you up into space. It's a guided meditation at the first part. It's only 15 minutes long, and I can actually link this meditation, the specific one, if you guys want it. It has nothing to do with a past life regression. That's just what happened, where I went in this specific meditation. It's just called Amethyst Meditation. It's 10 to 15 minutes long. I think 15. And anyway, so I go into the meditation, go up into the bubble, into space, and then it just kind of lets you go wherever you're called to go. There's no more guided from then until the end of the meditation where it brings you back down to reality. Anyway, so I'm going into the meditation, and I see a mine shaft. They show me this little thing, this little hole in the ground with boards over it, like my brother built when he was little. And my brother was obsessed with building a mine in our backyard when he was little. Not to mine anything. No, not for that reason, but just to be in the ground. Weird and morbid, right? But he called it his shimmy mine. And I always thought, because he was so sure, oh yeah, that's a shimmy mine, I thought it was a real thing. But no, he made that up. It was a thing he did. But Spirit showed me the shimmy mine. And then it got bigger. And all of a sudden, I'm underground. And I remembered from my regression with Alba, if you're in I just felt, okay, this is a past life. So you can hold a mirror up to your, spirit can bring a mirror in and hold it up to your face in the meditation. So I did that. I called in the mirror myself, and I saw that I had like a hard hat looking thing, but it was a little more archaic than the ones you might see today. And I had a very dirty face. I had a mustache, very thick mustache, dark hair, dark eyes, kind of medium to darker skin tone. And I asked myself, what's my name? Because that's another kind of technique to come in with past life regression. And I heard the name Philip, but it was spelled Filip. And my last name, I knew it was something greater than what I was getting, but I just kept picking out the word Rocco. I just heard it over and over and over. But I knew there was something more to it. Like Rocco wasn't the real last name, but like Rocco might have been included in it, right? So I'm like, okay. So I'm like, what am I doing here? So I got like a pickaxe and like some other stuff, and I'm talking to this one guy. It's like I'm taking a drink of my water, and I hear screaming and yelling like down the shaft, down the line. And this guy is basically yelling in broken English. English wasn't my first language in this life either. He's yelling, "We got to get out of here. There's a fire. There's a fire." And I got chills again. I'm really back in this life. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, we're in this section of the mine where we're literally digging new mine, like new shafts, new mining areas. And, there's this whole thing going on. Fire, smoke. So I'm like, it's starting to fill up with smoke. And we're all like literally clawing at your rational mind is gone when you're in this. And one of my friends that was in the mine with me, we were taking the break, having the water, is actually my brother in this life. But we're literally clawing our fingers to blood, to the rocks, like as if that's going to do anything, to try to get out. And I see myself like sit down, like slump down the wall, like kind of resigned, like, okay, I'm dying. This is it. Okay. All right. Well, my fiance is going to be very upset. I had a fiance, which her name was Clara, who I asked myself in the meditation, well, who is Clara? Is she in this life with me? And it said, yes, that's your sister in this life. So I was engaged to my sister in that life, and I asked, or I passed away in the life. So then I'm kind of more my whatever, like my ego is maybe kind of interviewing my subconscious or my higher self. And my ego asks, well, where was this? When did this happen? And it said 1917. And I said, well, where did this happen? And it said it was the biggest mining disaster in U.S. history. And I'm thinking, well, what? Where could that be? Like my ego mind started coming in, like that was so powerful, but what could this be? Who could this be? What is this? And so I'm going along for the ride of all of this. And Ronka's your maiden name. Yeah, Rocco was this guy's name. And anyway, so long story short, I come out of the meditation with the information that I have. And because meditation was going on my phone, I pull up my Google, and I search greatest U.S. mining disaster in history. And it came up Butte, Montana. Well, I live in Missoula, Montana, which is just a stone's throw away from Butte, just down the freeway. But I have always had this twisted, weird, kind of creepy obsession with the town of Butte. They call her Our Lady of the Rockies. It's Mother Mary up on the hill, but she is creepy as hell. I am sorry. You could be the most devout Christian, and this Our Lady of the Rockies is creepy as hell, especially at night. It's like no matter where you drive in that town, she's right there. Like it's like she follows you, but like she's on the mountain, like very, very, very tall. You can Google what that is if you want to see what she looks like. She creeps me out. Not so much today, but like before the awakening. This is like 2006. But I was just obsessed with that town and just driving around, and it felt like nostalgia for something that I didn't know in this life, but I didn't know about past lives back then. I mean, I was open to it, but like never tuned into my own back in 2006. But anyway, so I Google, and I'm like, oh wow, 100 and some people died in this mining disaster. Wow. If Philip is one of them, especially Philip Rocco, okay, universe, I surrender. I will believe myself from now on. So I go on and start scrolling the names, and wouldn't you know, oh wow, your great aunt and uncle lived in Butte, and he was a miner. Wow, small world. But anyway, so scrolling the names, and I come across a Philip, but it wasn't spelled Filip like I had seen and known in my meditation. It was spelled the regular Phillip. I'm like, oh. But then I went, huh? After I read the last name, Arakovich. Remember Rocco. I almost dropped my phone in the water at that point. I had to set it down. I got chills right now just talking about it, but I had to set it down, and it was just like, oh my God. Like it took me a hot minute to process everything that had just happened. And then I went crazy, like trying to dive into this. And I came across an obituary where Philip Arakovich was actually spelled Filip. They had it as a misprint in the big long list. It was actually Filip. And at the time, I had this friend. Well, I mean, she's still my friend, but we were talking a lot about things. And it is creepy, isn't it? I don't know. There's just such a darkness, but like a cool, creepy kind of darkness. Not like evil darkness, but like, I don't know. It's hard to put into words. I don't know how to put it into words. But yeah, if you've never been, they call it Butte, America, because it's just that iconic. They have to call it Butte, America instead of Butte, Montana. Oh yeah, he was killed in World War II. Well, I did a lot of research on this Philip Arakovich guy, and he actually 3 days before he died actually signed up and had a draft card for World War I. Isn't that interesting? But he died 3 days later. He, me, whatever. But anyway, my friend that I was talking to, she had an Ancestry.com account, and we were talking about it like a couple days before, and then she came to me, messaged me, and was like, hey, you wouldn't happen to want to maybe, I hope I'm not overstepping, but you wouldn't maybe want to see a picture of Philip Arakovich? I was like, wait, what? You found a picture of this guy? You found a picture? She's like, yeah, I'll send it to you. So let me find it. Rocco, the first thing that came to mind is Brockovich. Wow. Bucket list. My dad gave a medium the name Philip. I thought he was talking about my brother's middle name, and then you said it, and boom. She even thought it was Felix or Philip. Wow. Maybe you were in that life with me, Monica. There were like 6 of us in the shaft I died in, but 163 guys died, I think. Pretty sure that's the number. I could be wrong. You guys can look up the Butte mining accident of 1917 to be sure. But yeah, it did happen the year that my meditation told me. Let me scroll on back through history of my phone here. Oh, it's way past that. Come on. Back. Okay. So this story twists and turns even more. So get ready for it. I told you it was a whole thing. Okay. Back. Where is it? Okay. So remember I had mentioned to you, my friend sent the picture, which I will show you when I find it. It's got to be soon here. Come on. Where is it? I should have been prepared. I wasn't prepared. But no one asked me about my past lives till I was alive, so I will give myself some grace there. Okay, it was after Halloween that year, so here we go. Okay, I think I'm in the neighborhood of it. Maybe. I apologize. It's coming up soon, I hope. Hope I didn't miss it. Okay, here we go. All right. So to me, he looks a lot like Nikola Tesla, who I've always been obsessed and fascinated with since my awakening. But anyway, I will show you the picture of Philip Arakovich. Okay, so my friend sends me the picture. Wrigley is only 2 years old, almost 3 years old, and he's sitting on my lap. My friend sends me the picture, which is this. And I'm sitting there, like my heart starts palpitating and just racing, and I know that's me. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And Wrigley is sitting on my lap. He's, 2, almost 3. Yeah, dark mustache. There it is. And of course I had the mining hat on and a dirty face, but same face I saw. And I was like, holy crap, it's that. I gotta trust myself. But anyway, Wrigley's sitting on my lap, and I'm like, I show him the picture. I go, look. He goes, Mommy, it's you. Does this look anything like me? Should I take that as a compliment or what? But Wrigley, being very awakened at a young age, he knew, he could see the eyes are the window of the soul. He could tell that was me. He goes, Mommy, that's you. And that right there, if I denied it before, I couldn't deny him tuning into this because I had said nothing. I mean, these were written words with my friend on the text. He can't read at that age. So anyway, let's kick this up yet another notch. We have 2 or 3 more notches to go. Three more notches that are on my radar. So anyway, remember how I had mentioned how you're staying up past your bedtime. I'm going to get to the point, I promise. But anyway, I had mentioned that my sister was my fiance in that lifetime. So in this lifetime, her husband was a minor at the time of my vision, of my meditation, right? And she always had this deep-seated fear that her husband would go into the mine. I mean, they're still married, but he's no longer in mining. But she would have this deep-seated fear that he would go into the mine and not come out alive. Like, deep-seated fear. But anyway, fun fact, her current husband in this life, I'll just put a side-by-side of Philip and her husband, Ryan. Yes, my sister and I both have husbands named Ryan. It's a thing. But you tell me that my sister's soul doesn't have a type. You tell me. I mean, same face shape, same hair color and skin coloring. Well, I mean, skin tone you can't really see in the old picture, but I mean, look at that. And I told her all about this, and it just blew her mind. She goes, that makes so much sense. But anyway, so that happened in like late 2017. And then in April of 2018, so months later, we are going, it's kids' spring break, and we're driving toward Bozeman from Missoula to go to the Museum of the Rockies, which is a big dinosaur museum and other stuff, other cool things. Anyway, we're driving, and my husband's like not telling me where we're going, but I know we're on the freeway, we're going toward Butte. So I'm like, are we going to Butte? Because I had told him all about this past life and everything. And as we were getting closer to Butte, my heart started like jumping out of my chest. Like, I can't even explain. It hasn't happened before that or since. The rate. Like, my heart probably was beating 300 miles an hour if I had to estimate, but like, it felt erratic and higher up in my chest than it should be, and like pulsed out from me. And we're on the outskirts of Butte, not quite into town, but without my logical mind doing anything or having any say, my body just takes over, and I'm hearing words come out of my mouth right as everyone else in the car is hearing them. I turn, we're going forward, and out my passenger window is my right side. I just turn, and without even knowing what I'm turning to look at, my body turns, my voice says, I'm buried out there. And I point. And I drop my hand, and I like go like this, and I look at my husband, and he looks at me, and he goes, what? Like, and I'm like, what? He goes, you just said you're buried out there? And I go, oh my gosh, I think Philip Arakovich is buried out there, because there's a freaking cemetery. And so I get, my logical mind's like, I gotta prove this. I gotta see. I gotta have proof. So I go over to Google, and I Google that cemetery, because there's like 5 cemeteries in that town. It used to be a much bigger town than it is now, even though it's still a relatively decent sized town. But yes, St. Marias Cemetery is off the freeway there, and that is where he's buried. Yeah, no, I have not yet gone to that plot, but it's still on my list to go stand at my grave of the past life. But I did. We did drive into town. After we drove into town, stopped and got gas and stuff, and then we went and did our thing at the museum, another hour and a half away. Then we came back through town, and I said, let's just drive up by the mine. I just, what happened earlier, let's just drive up by the mine. And again, I'm giving him directions. I'm like, okay, turn right, turn left, go here, do this. And anyway, I don't know. My logical mind's not involved, but I'm just saying, let's go, let's do this, let's do that. And we get there. I'm like, let's get there. So we get to this, it's like a walking path, like a new walking path, like a paved path. But yet then there's a field, and then there's a big, I always forget what they call those things. They kind of look like the oil derricks, but they're for the mine. Like, that's how you go down into the mine, but they go way tall. I always forget the name of those things. But anyway, I lead him down, and there's a dirt road that goes along, the path kind of goes this way, and the dirt road goes this way. But it was like I was seeing an overlay of the past over it. Like I could see house, house, house. He barely stops the car and I'm out. Like I'm running. My boys are out. They're running after me. And we get to, I have a picture of it over on my Instagram. I'll just show you guys that as well, since we're all up on this story and give you guys some more coolness to see about it. But anyway, the name of the street that Philip Arakovich lived on is no longer a street in that town. So I had no way to find where the street was, right? Because it didn't say, oh, this used to be this. Nothing. But anyway, let me go. I'm going to find it, hopefully. Hopefully sooner than later, because you guys don't want to be at this all day, I'm sure. How many pictures do I take? Okay, so it was after that. I think it'd probably be quicker for me to go to YouTube, or Instagram to find this. Instagram. Not the Done Creative, but my other one. Okay, we're going back to 2018. Shouldn't be long. I have kind of dropped off of posting over there in years past. I used to post all the time before 2018. All right, where are we? What year is this? After that? Okay, there's that. Okay, so it's after that. Sorry. Stand by. Pause in the story just for a moment. Here we are. Yeah, okay. Here it is. So we get this house there, but I'm wearing the shoes I normally wear. They're like those, what do you call it? Converse sneakers, right? And anyway, we get there, and I don't know where I'm running to, but I'm running. I'm running from the car, like full sprint, and I get to this field, and I can see myself building my house with my brothers and some neighbors. We're building this house, and I hadn't even lived in Montana that long. I was from Montenegro, modern day Serbia, and I tapped into all that later. But I get to this plot of land, and the second my feet hit this land, it's like this electricity just went up my whole body, and I was like, I'm home. It was so weird, and I got this vision, this flash of me on the back porch because this is kind of more toward the front of the house I was living in. Of course, they're all torn down now. They're no longer there. So I do have proof now because I researched and looked into it and did learn, yes, Clear Grit Road was that dirt road that we came through on. So intuitively or past lifedly, I led myself back home. But yes, I had a vision of myself really drunk, drinking some big bottle on the back of my porch, looking out at this mine. We get it. Looking out that way. Because that was there back then. They didn't tear that out yet. But yeah. So crazy, right? And I'm sure when I do actually go visit the burial plot of Philip Arakovich, I will then feel some more stuff, but that's been a while back now. That happened, I guess it was March 29th, not April. March 29th, 2018 was the day I went and visited that. And if you guys want to actually read all about that mining disaster, there's actually a book by the guy that wrote The Revenant, which I had no idea about, called Fire and Brimstone, from North Butte Mining Disaster of 1917. And I read this, and some of what they said caused it, conspiracy theory. I have a truth from a past life that tells a completely different story. But there you go. I was a 23-year-old miner who died in the Butte mining disaster of 1917. One of, I think, 163 guys that died that day. I know, right? Isn't it sad? But yeah. And it's interesting, too, because they filmed The Revenant in my hometown of Libby, Montana. Not the whole thing, but like that river scene where they're trying to kill him toward the end. Beautiful country where I'm from. Beautiful terrain called Kootenai Falls and the Kootenai River. That's where they filmed that part. They didn't film the whole movie there, but that specific part. And then we got to stay in the room that Leonardo DiCaprio stayed in at the Sandman Motel when we were tearing my mom's house down after it burned. Of course, I would never have been able to stay in that room if she still had a house. So weird little synchronicities. But yes, I think that's it for my story time. Monica was talking about her past lives in Salem. Yeah, read up on it. It's amazing. I'm glad that I did because it really put a lot of pieces together. But yet at the same time, the way that this fire started is not what they say in here or in the official narrative. Let's just put that out there. That's a story for another day. Maybe that's the connection to the number 17 right now. It could be. It could be 1917. Yeah, very well could be. All right, let me go check Patreon. We're going to do the giveaway, and then I'm going to go because I just heard my family get home. I can't believe I thought, oh, we could do like a 1 hour Q&A and then probably an hour and a half tops. We're 3 hours, 4 minutes, and 44 seconds in right now. But you guys are here for it. I know you are. Poor KDR staying up past her bedtime just to enjoy the beautiful High Vibe tribe. All right, let's check in, see if we got any more. I see one more notification. Let's see who it is. Who has joined the party over on Patreon? We've got Michelle Montemayor. Thank you so much, Michelle. I'm adding you. Okay, so Michelle M, you are going in, folding up into the bucket. Here we go. So we've got 12 patrons. I'm gonna make sure I have 12 slips of paper. We've got, let me read them all out. So we've got Linda H, we've got Susan, we've got Tanya, we've got Lori, and then we have Tracy, Ricky, Barbara, Jessa G, AJ, Amber Lepper, Abby, Michelle M, and Jasui. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So it says I have 13. Maybe I counted wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. No, I didn't. This is saying 12 patrons, but I think, well, we've got 13 names, and I know for sure that each of these came through as a patron, so I'm just going to roll with it. Okay, drum roll, please. All right, let me just make sure nobody was wanting to join before I draw. We all good? We all good? All right, I think I'm just going to kind of get them all down in the corner here, so we get them together. Bye, Ethan. Have a beautiful night. I was happy to hang out with you this evening. Found your family the first time I was on a live and then ended up running in fear, and then I ended up in trust issues. I'm so thankful. Yeah, we've got a High Vibe tribe, and I always do the protection for everybody who comes into this live before I start any live stream on my channel or on Patreon in the future, because I want us all to feel like we're safe and we don't have to worry about the trolls and all that. So I'm not really worried about me. I'm worried about you guys feeling safe. Well, worried maybe isn't the right word. I'm wanting to create the safety or have Spirit help me create the safety for you all. Okay. 3 names. Let's draw 3 names. So I'm gonna really focus in. Who needs these readings the most? We're gonna draw those 3 names. So we've got one. Oh, we've already got one. We've got 2. We've got 2. All right. Spirit, direct us to the last name that needs this reading. Okay. Are we ready? Are we ready, everybody? I drew 3 names, but 2 were folded together, so we've got 4 winners, my friends. Are we ready? 4 winners. Okay. Winner number 1 is Michelle Montemayor. Michelle has won herself a 10-minute reading. All right, which is usually closer to 20-minute readings. And email me at amanda@donephotodesign.com. I will type it out here in a moment. Our next winner is Abby. Abby is winner number 2. Winner number 3 is Linda H. Linda Haggerty. And last but not least, we've got Barbara. So I drew 3 names, I thought, but 4 winners. Spirit decided that 4 people needed to win. So Michelle, Linda, Abby, and Barbara, please, I don't have contact information for any of you. So if you would kindly contact me. I'm going to leave your names actually out so that I can, yes, contact me. I'm going to write my email, amanda@donephotodesign.com. And I left that open to spirit. Whoever they felt needed this reading the most is who got it. And it wasn't 3 of you, it was 4 of you. Congrats, guys. That's amazing. So yes, please email me at amanda@donephotodesign to claim your prize. If you are not here, you're probably not hearing these words, but I will leave a comment with the winners, and hopefully they contact me. Spirit will get them on the horn that, hey, you won. Go get over there and get contacted to Amanda, or get in contact with Amanda. That's how I should word that. Yes. Well, thank you all so much for joining me. This went on longer than I wanted, but I think we had so much fun. I know I did. I don't think I've ever been able to just share that much of myself this long with an audience, ever. I don't think so. I don't think so at all. So, yay. You are so welcome. Actually, Linda, I have information for you because you did email me before. So I do have your contact info. But if you just still, Linda, wanted to shoot me an email, that would be awesome. Also Michelle, also Abby, and then the other winner, Barbara. I don't see you here, but you still won. So hopefully you get on the horn and know that you won. I can't wait. I'm so excited. Yeah, it's not too late to join Patreon. It will be there for a while at least. Hopefully, if I have anything to say about it, it will be up. And I can't wait to see what this journey ahead looks like for us on Patreon. We're looking to connect on a deeper level with not just me and you, but you guys with each other even. I know many of you have found a lot of beautiful people that you are now friends or consider soul family here on my channel. And I just know that those who are intuitively guided to come over to Patreon, just as they were to my YouTube, will find those lost soul family members, or at least a good friend, or some good information, or just some entertainment at the very least. I'm excited. So I love you all. I think this is where I'm going to leave you off for the evening, but I love you, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your evening. And thanks again to all 12, maybe 13 of my patrons. I appreciate each and every one of you already, and all of you who will be future patrons. Can't wait to get this party started. I already have the weekly reading for today, Monday, through next Monday of September 13th, posted for you guys to gaze upon and get guidance on the week ahead. And I have another reading coming at the end of this week, maybe even into early next week, but you're getting an exclusive reading from me over on Patreon that will not show up at all on Facebook, or not Facebook, YouTube. I'm getting tired. I'm hot. It's hot in here. Forgive me for stuttering over my words. I do anyway, but yes. You've been pulled to Patreon and can't wait to get your stuff at that point. Yes, it's only been 2 years and 4 months for me before I finally bit the bullet and said, okay, let's do this thing. Or more specifically, I actually started the Patreon on John's birthday, which is July 31st at 10:17 a.m. Lori, yes, it was, and it wasn't like I looked at the time and calculated and orchestrated it all. It just happened at that time. John came in and was like, now's the time. Take your leap. Let's go. And I did. Of course, I didn't put it live that day because I was nowhere near ready. I had to prepare and figure out what I wanted to offer. But I knew if I at least created the Patreon and then worked on it through the next month and a half, I'd get it going. And I did. Yes, I'm so happy. I'm just going to shut up. I'm shutting it up. Yes. Oh, it's Harry Potter's birthday. I did not know that. But how would I? I've never read or watched any of the Harry Potter movies or books. Yeah, I know. I'm that guy. I'm that random weirdo that's never read any of that. I don't know. I never really felt called to read that. I don't know why. People say I would love it, but I don't know. I'm sure if the time ever comes, I will. But I love you guys. And yes, thank you all. Again, even those who aren't patrons, I love you just as much. Absolutely, I do. And I love your beautiful exchange of energy you give here on my channel, in my live streams, in my pick-a-cards and everything. I will see all of you. Let's see. I'm going to be filming a pick-a-card tomorrow. Hopefully it will be up Wednesday for this channel. Oh, you just signed up. Well, welcome. That's okay. Absolutely. Missed the chat. A lot of the chat while I was getting my kiddo ready for bed. That's okay. This will be posted for anybody to watch back. If you want to join more of the Q&A, that's totally cool. Or if you don't want to, that's cool too, but it will be here indefinitely. I'm not going to delete it. So here it is. I love you guys. I hope you had a wonderful time. I know I did. And I'm just talking in circles at this point, but I love you guys so much. I never want to leave. Those of you who are on my live streams, you know how I get at the end of the live stream. I just want to hang out and talk for longer. It's like leaving a close friend. You just want to stay forever. But I love you guys. I hope you enjoyed yourselves here and will enjoy yourselves on Patreon. I just want to say thanks again so much. All your likes, comments, your subscribes, and Patreon, and all the things. And I really, truly do hope to see you right here back at the Den Creative. Also over on the Den Creative Live for my live stream on Saturday. Wednesday. Wednesday will be the first live stream, the next live stream. And then Saturday as well, as normal. So I love you. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, day, morning, whatever it is where you're at. I love you. Have a beautiful time. Email me, winners. Email me, and I will get your Zoom all set up. We'll get it all figured out. I love you. Bye.